Greetings, abyss-loving sleep cadets. I'm Dr. Weird, former professor of paradoxical physics at the Somnium Institute for Sleepy Scholars. In '91, I gave a TED Talk to a squid. It inked the stage. I called it a standing ovation. Now let's begin. Tonight, we drift into the depths of the unknown. Phantom islands, ghost ships, terrifying creatures, and underwater ruins that defy all logic. Settle into your chair or bed, dim the lights, and prepare your brain to bubble. Because tonight, we explore the ocean's darkest secrets. Before we submerge into tonight's tale, I have a question. What mystery would you like me to dredge up next? A cosmic riddle? A prehistoric whisper? Leave your ideas in the comments below. Oh, and if you'd like to officially join Dr. Weird's Sleep Workshop, it's absurdly simple. Just subscribe. That's it. No harpoons. No secret passwords. Just curiosity. The ocean has always been a place of mystery, a vast and unpredictable realm where ships disappear, strange creatures lurk in the deep, and islands appear and vanish without a trace. Some of these mysteries can be explained by science, others defy all logic, challenging what we think we know about the world. And then there are the mysteries that should not exist. Tonight, we begin our journey with one of the most baffling, an island that was seen, mapped, and documented for over 400 years, and until one day, it was gone, not just missing, erased. This is the story of Barur Island, a place that forces us to ask a chilling question. How can something be real for centuries only to vanish, as if it was never there? The Phantom Island that was once real. Barur Island was first recorded in 1539, appearing in Spanish navigational charts as a small rocky landmass in the Gulf of Mexico, located northwest of the Yucatan Peninsula. For centuries, it was accepted as real, appearing in countless maps, government records, and nautical charts used by explorers and sailors alike. Even as late as 1857, official Mexican government maps marked Barur as an important landmark, one that helped define maritime boundaries in the Gulf. This wasn't an obscure or hidden place. It was referenced hundreds of times by multiple sources across centuries. And then something strange happened in the late 20th century when modern technology allowed for precise satellite imaging. Researchers attempted to confirm Barur's exact location. They sent planes, they sent ships, they scanned the ocean floor with sonar, and they found nothing, not even a trace of an island, no land mass, no remnants of a sunken island, no explanation. It was simply gone. The island had been real for over 400 years, until suddenly it wasn't. How, and more importantly, why the search for Barur, a high-stakes investigation. At first, people believed Barur's disappearance was just a mistake, a relic of old maps that had been copied and recopied over time. But then in 1997, Mexico launched an official investigation to locate Barur, and the reason had nothing to do with curiosity. It was about money. You see, the ocean isn't just water. The waters around Barur contain valuable oil reserves, and if the island existed, Mexico could claim a massive portion of the Gulf. But if Barur did not exist, then those waters would belong to the United States. This was no longer a small historical mystery. This was an issue of national sovereignty, a battle over oil rights worth billions of dollars. So in 1998, the Mexican government sent official teams to find Barur once and for all, using the most advanced satellite imaging, radar scans, and underwater mapping technologies. They searched the coordinates where Barur should have been, and still they found nothing. No land, no wreckage, no geological formations, nothing. It was as if the island had never existed, and yet it had been documented for centuries. By 2009, Mexico launched yet another expedition, this time with even greater urgency. The disappearance of Barur meant that the U.S. could claim a huge part of the whose DNA oil fields, one of the richest untapped reserves in the Gulf. Mexican researchers scoured the ocean floor, but once again Barur was nowhere to be found. A 4-year-old island had simply vanished from the earth. The question was no longer, where's Barur? The real question was it ever real? And if it was, who made it disappear? Theories behind Barur's disappearance. Over the years, multiple theories have emerged, each more unsettling than the last theory won a simple mapping error. The most scientific explanation is that Berayer was never real to begin with. It's possible that early explorers made a mistake misidentifying a temporary sandbank, a mirage, or even a miscalculated coordinate maps, and the 1500s weren't perfect, and small errors could be copied across generations, making them seem more real than they actually were. But there's a problem with this theory. Why did so many different navigators report seeing Berayer over the years? Why did it appear in official records, maps, and government documents for centuries? Even 23rd century maps included Berayer long after satellite imaging became available. Could hundreds of navigators and cartographers have all been wrong? Or is there something deeper at play? Theory 2, a natural disappearance. Could Berayer have sunk into the ocean? Some believe that erosion, sea level rise, or seismic activity could have caused the island to submerge over time. While this might explain some disappearing island, Berayer was located in an area with no volcanic activity, no sudden shifts, and no signs of submerged land beneath it. If the island had sunk, there should be some evidence left behind: underwater ridges, coral formations, or even the remnants of land structures. But every search for Berayer has turned up nothing, not even a trace. Theory 3, the island was erased. This is where the mystery takes a darker turn. Some believe Berayer did exist, but was deliberately destroyed, wiped off the map for political and economic reasons. One theory suggests that the island was secretly bombed, possibly by the CIA or another intelligence agency, to ensure that Mexico couldn't claim oil or waters. Another theory suggests that Berayer never actually existed, but was deliberately placed on maps to mislead rival nations, only to be removed later once its deception was no longer useful. And then there's the most unsettling theory of all: what if Berayer still exists, but we're not meant to find a mystery that still haunts the ocean to this day? No official explanation has been given for Berger's disappearance. It remains a phantom island, an unsettling reminder that even the maps we trust can lie to us. If Berayer was a mistake, why did it persist for so long? If it was real, how did it disappear so completely? And if it was erased, who had the power to do it? The answers remain hidden beneath the waves, waiting, and perhaps we were never meant to know the truth. Part 2, the haunting mystery of the SS Aronk. Mud on the ocean is a realm of secrets. Beneath its waves, entire ships vanish without a trace, their crews lost to history, their fates unknown. But sometimes ships do not disappear. Instead, they are found adrift, abandoned, and carrying with them a mystery so unsettling that it defies explanation. One such case is that of the SS Oring Mud, on a ghost ship whose crew met an inexplicable and horrifying fate. A ship that was discovered with every soul aboard dead, their faces frozen in terror, their bodies untouched by violence, their final moments a complete mystery. A ship whose distress call still sends shivers down the spines of those who hear it. This is the story of the SS Rang Mudon, one of the strangest and most terrifying maritime mysteries ever recorded. A ghostly distress call. The story of the SS Rang Mudon begins in 1948 in the Straits of Malacca, one of the busiest and most treacherous maritime routes in the world. On a calm day, ships moving through the region picked up a distress signal. Unlike any other, the message was short but chilling: all officers, including the captain, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead. Then after a long silence, one final transmission came through: I die. Then nothing for hours. There was no further communication. The ship sending the message, the SS Armada, did not respond to hails. No one knew what had happened aboard, but the words of the transmission sent a wave of unease through the region. A rescue operation was quickly launched. A nearby vessel, the Silver Star, responded to the distress call and set course for the Aang Mudon's last known location. What they found defied all logic: the discovery, a crew frozen in terror. When the Silver Star reached the oranging mud on the sight before them was eerie and unnatural. The ship drifted aimlessly, its hull intact, showing no signs of struggle, fire, or damage. The boarding crew from the Silver Star climbed onto the ship and called out, but there was no response. Then they stepped onto the deck and everything changed everywhere. They found bodies. The entire crew of the Orang was dead, their bodies scattered across the ship. Some were found sprawled on the decks, others inside the bridge and chart room, their faces frozen in expressions of pure terror. The captain lay lifeless on the bridge, his hands still gripping the wheel, his dead eyes staring at something unseen. The radio operator who had sent the distress call was slumped over the transmitter, his fingers stiff and unmoving. Even the ship's dog was dead, its mouth frozen in a silent snarl. The most chilling detail: there were no visible wounds, not a single drop of blood was found on the ship. There were no signs of struggle, no indication of violence, poisoning, or disease, just death. The crew appeared to have died in extreme fear, their hands outstretched as if trying to fight off something unseen. The Silver Star's crew, unnerved by the sight, decided to tow the Oranging back to port for investigation, but they never got the chance. The sudden explosion as the Silver Star prepared to tow the abandoned ship, crew members noticed something strange, a sudden chill in the air, an almost unnatural coldness that seemed to radiate from the Oranging lee. Then, without warning, the Oranging exploded. A sudden violent blast ripped through the ship, sending debris into the air and forcing the rescuers to retreat. The explosion was so powerful that it split the ship in half, causing it to sink into the depths of the ocean within minutes. Just like that, the Oranging was gone, and with it any chance of discovering what had happened aboard. Theories: what killed the crew of the Oranging in the decades since the Orang-Mudon's disappearance. Many theories have been proposed to explain the horrifying fate of its crew, but none provide a complete answer. One: poisonous gas leak. One of the most common explanations is that the ship was carrying a hazardous chemical cargo, possibly cyanide, sulfuric acid, or even nerve gas. If a leak occurred, the fumes could have spread throughout the ship, poisoning the crew before they even realized what was happening. This could explain the lack of physical injuries and the crew's horrified expressions, as gas poisoning can cause muscle paralysis, preventing victims from escaping or reacting rationally. But this theory has one major flaw. Why didn't the Silver Star's crew suffer any ill effects when they boarded the ship? If a toxic gas leak had killed the crew, it should have still been present when rescuers arrived, yet no. Reports mention any symptoms among those who investigated the ship to carbon monoxide poisoning. Another theory suggests that a malfunction in the Orang-Midet boiler system released large amounts of carbon monoxide, causing the crew to suffocate. While this could explain their deaths, it does not explain the frozen expressions of terror on their faces. Carbon monoxide poisoning causes drowsiness and unconsciousness, not fear or agony. Something else, something far more terrifying, must have caused their final moments. 3 paranormal or supernatural causes. Some believe that the Orang-Midet encountered something unnatural, a force beyond human comprehension. Ghost ships are not uncommon in maritime history. Stories of spectral vessels and unexplained deaths have circulated among sailors for centuries. Could the Orang-Midet encounter upon something it was never meant to see? One theory suggests that the ship may have entered a zone of electromagnetic disturbance similar to the Bermuda Triangle. This could have caused hallucinations, intense fear, or even cardiac arrest in the crew. Others believe that the ship might have been haunted or cursed, carrying a presence that wiped out everyone aboard. While these ideas are chilling, they remain speculation, whispers of the unknown passed down through generations, of mystery without answers. The SSR Mudon was lost to the sea, taking its terrifying secret with it. No official records of the ship exist, and its very origins remain shrouded in uncertainty. No logs, no confirmed manifests, no survivors, only a single chilling transmission. I die. What really happened aboard the Orang-Mudon? Was it a freak accident, a forgotten wartime experiment, or something far beyond human understanding? We may never know, because the ocean keeps its secrets well, and some stories are meant to remain unanswered. Part 3: the unexplained disappearance of Flight 19. The ocean is not just a graveyard for ships, it has swallowed planes as well, leaving behind only questions, theories, and a haunting silence that stretches across the waves. One of the most chilling aviation mysteries in history is the disappearance of Flight 19, a squadron of 5 torpedo bombers that took off from Florida in 1945, only to vanish without a trace over the Bermuda Triangle. No wreckage was found, no distress signals provided answers. Even the rescue plane sent to find them also disappeared. What happened to Flight 19, and why does the Bermuda Triangle remain one of the most notorious regions for unexplained disappearance? This is the story of Flight 19, an unsolved mystery that continues to haunt the skies and the seas. The last flight, it was December 5th, 1945, a routine training mission for the 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers of Flight 19. The pilots, all highly trained U.S. Navy airmen, took off from Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale, Florida, under the command of Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor. The weather was clear. The mission was simple: fly east, perform practice bombing runs, then return to base. The flight was expected to last only a few hours, but something went horribly wrong. The radio transmissions at 2:10 p.m. The first sign of trouble appeared when Lieutenant Taylor radioed base with a concerning message: "We seem to be off course. We cannot see land." Repeat: "We cannot see land." A radio operator asked for their coordinates, but Taylor's response made little sense. "We don't know where we are. We must have gotten lost." After the last turn, the base operators were confused. Flight 19 was flying in familiar, well-charted waters. Their aircraft were fully operational, and the sky was clear. Then came another transmission. "Everything looks wrong. Even the ocean doesn't look as it should." It was a strange statement. What did he mean? How could the ocean look wrong? At 3:30 p.m. the radio signals became more desperate. "We are completely lost. We don't know how to get back. It looks like we're entering white water." Nothing seemed right. White water? Was it a storm or something else entirely? Then the final chilling message from Flight 19: "We are not certain of our position. We can't be sure where we are. Everything is strange. We are disappearing." And then silence. Flight 19 was never heard from again. The rescue that also vanished as soon as Flight 19 went dark. The Navy scrambled a search and rescue mission. A PBM Mariner C plane carrying 13 crew members took off in an attempt to locate the missing aircraft. It also disappeared. No wreckage, no signals, nothing. A total of 6 aircraft and 27 men had now vanished within hours. The rescue operation intensified over the next 5 days. Hundreds of ships and PLS searched the 250,000 square miles of the Atlantic Ocean surrounding Flight 19's last known location. Not a single piece of debris was found. How could 5 planes and a rescue mission vanish without a trace? Theories. What happened to Flight 19? The disappearance of Flight 19 remains one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in aviation history. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged. 1. Disorientation and pilot error. One of the most widely accepted theories is that Lieutenant Taylor became disoriented and led his squadron in the wrong direction. Flight the 19th of May have ended up flying further out to sea instead of turning back toward Florida. If so, the plane ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean. But this explanation has problems. Why did all 5 aircraft vanish with no wreckage ever found? Why did the rescue plane also disappear moments later? And what did Taylor mean when he said the ocean looked wrong too? Electromagnetic disturbances and compass failures. Many reports from aircraft and ships within the Bermuda Triangle describe sudden compass malfunctions and strange electrical disturbances. In his final transmissions, Taylor reported that his compass was not working, but the planes have flown into an area of electromagnetic interference affecting their instruments and leading them into the unknown. Some researchers believe the Bermuda Triangle may be home to natural magnetic anomalies capable of disrupting navigational equipment. But if that were the case, why were no remains ever found? 3. An unexplained natural phenomenon. A more recent theory suggests that Flight the 19th of May have encountered a rare natural phenomenon: methane hydrate eruptions from the ocean floor. Methane gas deposits beneath the seabed occasionally burst to the surface, creating large pockets of air that could cause planes to lose lift and crash instantly. Additionally, such an event could also sink ships almost immediately, explaining why no debris from Flight 19 or the rescue mission was ever found, but this theory is speculative. No one has ever directly observed a methane eruption affecting an aircraft for a dimensional rift. One of the strangest theories suggests that flight the 19th of May have entered a time where dimensional rift pilots reported that the ocean looked wrong. They described entering white water where nothing seemed real. Some believers speculate that the Bermuda Triangle contains portals or time warps, pulling ships and planes into another reality or timeline. While this idea may sound like science fiction, it aligns with many unexplained disappearances in the region. Could Flight 19 have slipped through a rift in space-time, never to return? The ocean keeps its secrets despite countless investigations. Flight 19 has never been found. The Bermuda Triangle remains one of the most infamous and mysterious locations on Earth, where dozens of ships and planes have vanished without a trace. Did Flight 19 simply crash into the ocean, or did it encounter something far more mysterious? For now, the ocean keeps its secrets, and Flight 19 remains one of the greatest unsolved disappearances in history. Part for the Mariana Trench and the deepest unexplained sounds. The ocean is vast and largely unexplored, a realm of crushing pressures and endless darkness where only the hardiest forms of life could survive. But what happens when the depths whisper back? For decades, scientists have recorded eerie, unexplained sounds rising from the depths of the Pacific Ocean, particularly in the region of the Mariana Trench, the deepest place on Earth. Some of these sounds resemble natural seismic activity, others appear biological, but a handful defy all known explanations. The strange acoustics of the trench suggest something is lurking in its unfathomable darkness, something vast, unseen, and waiting. The Mariana Trench is a geological scar in the Earth's crust stretching for over 1,500 miles. Plunging nearly 7 miles into the abyss. At its lowest point, the Challenger Deep, the pressure is over 1,000 times that of the surface. It is a world so hostile that humans have only visited it a handful of times. And yet the abyss is not silent. In 2014, marine researchers deployed hydrophones into the depths of the trench, expecting to hear the faint groans of shifting tectonic plates, the occasional deep-sea earthquake, or the distant calls of whales. What they recorded was something entirely unexpected. The most infamous of these recordings has been named the Western Pacific Bot Wong. The sound begins as a deep, low, almost mechanical in nature before rising into a sharp metallic screech that seems unnatural, as if something impossibly large was signaling from below. The frequency and structure of the sound are unlike anything produced by known marine life. Blue whales, the largest creatures on Earth, create deep, resonant calls, but nothing in their vocal range matches the Biot Wong's bizarre metallic crescendo. Scientists theorized that it could be some unknown species of whale, but that would mean a species of leviathan proportions has managed to evade detection for centuries. Something unlikely, but not impossible in the vastness of the deep. The Biot Wong is only one of many unexplained sounds that have emanated from the depths. Another mysterious recording, known as the bloop, was captured in 1997 by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. NOAA. The bloop was an ultra-low frequency sound so powerful it was detected by hydrophones over 3,000 miles apart. Unlike the Biot Wong, which had an unnatural metallic quality, the bloop sounded organic, as if something massive was moving through the abyss. When analyzed, the audio signature of the bloop resembled that of biological cause. But there was one problem: no known creature could produce a sound of that magnitude. The largest animal alive, the blue whale, does not possess the lung capacity to create such a deafening underwater signal. The only possible explanation was that the sound had been made by something even larger, something deep within the ocean trenches that had never surfaced. While many have dismissed the bloop as the sound of icebergs cracking and shifting, its similarity to biological noise keeps the mystery alive. What if the sound was not an anomaly, but evidence of an undiscovered deep-sea leviathan? The ocean unexplored regions are home to creatures that defy logic. The colossal shrid, unknown until relatively recently, is a Massive predator lurking in the twilight zones of the sea, what else could? Be lurking in the eternal blackness of the Mariana Trench, the mystery deepens with another recording Julia captured in 1999. The sound was named for its eerie, distant wail, which lasted for nearly 2 minutes. Unlike the bloop, Julia had a haunting, almost sorrowful quality reverberating through the deep. It sounded distant, yet impossibly vast. And to this day, scientists struggled to classify it. Some argue that it was the sound of an iceberg running around, but others believe it was something alive, something massive and unseen, moving through the darkest parts of the ocean. What could be large enough to produce a sound so penetrating that it could be detected across the Pacific? There's an unsettling theory that the deepest parts of the ocean are home to more than just abyssal fish and formless invertebrates. Legends of sea serpents, krakens, and ancient leviathans have persisted across cultures for centuries, long before humanity ever had the technology to listen to the abyss. Could these stories have been based on something real? If the bloop was a biological noise, what kind of entity would need lungs large enough to produce it? The Mariana Trench is so deep that it remains largely unexplored. Our most advanced submersibles have only scratched the surface of what lies below. It is a place where light does not exist, where entire ecosystems thrive in complete darkness, where creatures feed on hydrothermal vents that spew superheated water and toxic chemicals. What else could survive in such an environment? Adding to the mystery, some researchers have speculated that the deep ocean might be home to forms of life that evolved separately from the rest of the planet. The intense pressures, lack of sunlight, and extreme temperatures create conditions unlike anywhere else on Earth. Could something truly alien exist in these depths, something that does not rely on sunlight or photosynthesis, but rather survives through means we do not yet understand? For now, the mystery of the Mariana Trench's strange sounds remains unsolved, whether they are geological phenomena, undiscovered marine life, or something beyond our understanding. They serve as a reminder of how little we know about the world beneath the waves. Every new recording, every unexplained noise is a whisper from the deep, hinting at secrets that humanity has yet to uncover. The ocean keeps its secrets well, and perhaps some mysteries are never meant to be solved. Part 5. The sunken city of Dwar, India's lost Atlantis. Beneath the waves, civilizations lie forgotten, their histories buried beneath centuries of sediment and coral. While many of these sunken cities are well documented, some remain shrouded in mystery, hinting at a past that challenges our understanding of ancient history. One of the most enigmatic of these is the sunken city of Dhaka, an underwater metropolis off the coast of India that has been described as India's lost Atlantis. For centuries, Dhaka was thought to be nothing more than a legend, an ancient city described in Hindu scriptures, said to have been the kingdom of Lord Krishna, one of the most revered deities in Hindu mythology. According to the texts, Dwara was an opulent and magnificent city adorned with towering golden palaces, sprawling streets, and a harbor bustling with ships from across the ancient world. But the city did not last. The stories say that after the death of Krishna, Dwara was swallowed by the sea, disappearing without a trace for thousands of years. This tale was considered purely mythological until modern discoveries changed everything. In 1983, marine archaeologists began an expedition off the coast of Gujarat, India, in the Gulf of Kutch, searching for remnants of ancient structures. What they found was astonishing. Beneath the waves at depths of 40 m, they discovered massive stone formations, temple structures, walls, and even remnants of roads, all covered in centuries of coral and marine growth. The architectural features suggested that the ruins were once part of a thriving city, eerily matching the descriptions of Krishna's Dwara from ancient texts. The significance of the discovery was enormous. If these ruins were truly the remnants of Dwara, it would mean that an advanced civilization existed over 9,000 years ago, predating even the earliest known urban settlements like Mesopotamia, Sumerian cities. The implications were staggering. Could it be possible that Dwara was one of the oldest lost cities in the world, And if so, what caused it to sink beneath the waves? Some researchers believe that Dhaka's submersion was caused by rising sea levels and seismic activity, which could have triggered a catastrophic event that sent the city into the ocean. Evidence of tectonic activity in the region supports this theory, as shifts in the Earth's crust over thousands of years may have gradually submerged the city. Others suggest that a massive flood similar to those described in ancient texts across various cultures may have led to the city's downfall. One of the most intriguing aspects of Dhaka's discovery is the artifacts found within the ruins. Archaeologists have uncovered pottery, tools, and even fossilized remains that suggest a civilization flourished here thousands of years ago. Advanced carbon dating techniques on some of the materials suggest they are at least 9,500 years old, placing Dvarka among the oldest known settlements on Earth. These findings challenge convention historical timelines, as historians have long believed that advanced civilizations did not exist so far back in history. However, despite the compelling evidence, skeptics remain. Some argue that the ruins found underwater may not be Krishna's Dvarka, but rather another ancient settlement lost to time without definitive proof linking the ruins to the legendary city. The debate continues, yet the similarities between the descriptions in ancient texts and the archaeological discoveries cannot be hid. If this is truly Dhaka, then it raises an even greater question: how much of what we consider myth could actually be history? The sunken city of Dwara remains one of the greatest underwater mysteries of all time, whether it was the grand kingdom of Krishna or another lost civilization. The fact remains that an ancient metropolis once stood where now only fish swim among its ruins. The waters of the Gulf of Cumber hold their secrets tightly, but as technology advances, perhaps one day we will finally cover the truth about India's lost Atlantis. Until then, the city sleeps beneath the waves, waiting to tell its story to those who dare to search for it. Part 6: The Ghost Ship. Mary Celeste, a crew that vanished without a trace. Of all the mysteries the ocean holds, few are as perplexing as the story of the Mary Celeste, ship found abandoned in the middle of the Atlantic, its crew having vanished into thin air. There were no signs of struggle, no distress signals, and no logical reason for its sudden abandonment. It remains one of the greatest maritime enigmas of all time. The Mary Celeste set sail on November 7th, 1872 from New York Harbor bound for Genoa, Italy. It was a sturdy, seaworthy brigantine carrying a cargo of 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol meant for commercial use. The ship was captained by Benjamin Briggs, an experienced and respected sailor. Alongside him were his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and a crew of 7 men, all handpicked for their skill and reliability. There was no indication of anything amiss when the ship departed, but a month later it would be found drifting 400 miles east of the Azores, completely abandoned on December 5th, 1872. The British ship D.A. Gradier spotted the Mary Celeste in the open sea. At first, everything seemed normal. The ship was intact, its sails partially unfolded, its flag still waving in the wind. But when the day Gradier crew boarded the vessel, they discovered something deeply unsettling. Not a single soul was aboard. There were no signs of violence. The ship's logbook was up to date, with its last entry recorded 9 days prior on November 25th, noting calm seas. In normal conditions, the crew's belongings were still in their quarters. The cargo was untouched, and the food supplies were plentiful. Even the ship's single lifeboat was missing, suggesting that the crew had left voluntarily. But why? There was no indication of immediate danger that would warrant abandoning a perfectly seaworthy vessel. It was as if they had simply stepped off the ship and vanished into the ocean. Many theories have emerged over the years, each attempting to explain why a capable captain, his family, and his crew would abandon their ship without a fight. One of the earliest theories was piracy, but this was quickly ruled out. The ship's valuable cargo and personal belongings were left untouched, and there were no signs of a struggle. If pirates had attacked, there would have been violence, looting, or at the very least some indication of foul play. Another theory suggests that alcohol fumed from the cargo hold may have played a role. The Mary Celeste was carrying industrial alcohol, which is highly volatile. Some speculate that fumes may have leaked, creating a fear of imminent explosion. If Captain Briggs feared a catastrophic detonation, he might have ordered the crew to evacuate temporarily by lowering the lifeboat. But if something went wrong, such as a sudden storm or a strong current, the lifeboat could have been swept away, leaving the crew stranded and unable to return to the ship. Yet no charred remains or explosion damage were found on the ship, making this theory unlikely. A more dramatic theory involves rogue waves or water spouts. These sudden massive walls of water can strike unexpectedly, damaging ships and sweeping sailors overboard. If a powerful rogue wave had hit while the crew was on deck, it could have knocked them into the sea before they had time to react. However, the ship itself showed no structural damage, making it hard to believe that a rogue wave alone was responsible. Some have even suggested paranormal explanations, such as sea monsters, alien abductions, or interdimensional phenomena. While these ideas are more suited to folklore than fact, the complete lack of physical evidence has kept such wild speculations alive. The Bermuda Triangle is often cited in maritime disappearances, but the Mary Celeste was nowhere near its infamous boundary. One of the most compelling theories is that the Mary Celeste encountered a waterspout, a rare but dangerous tornado-like vortex of water. If the ship had been caught in the outer bands of a waterspout, it could have created sudden violent winds and heavy rain, leading the crew to believe the ship was sinking or about to capsize in panic. They may have abandoned the ship in a lifeboat only to be lost at sea when conditions unexpectedly calmed. However, this theory, like the others, remains speculative. Despite decades of investigation, the fate of the Mary Celeste crew remains an unsolved mystery. The ship itself was eventually salvaged and returned to service, but the unanswered questions linger. Why did they leave? What were their final moments like? Did they survive for days adrift on the open sea, hoping to be rescued? Or were they lost to the abyss as soon as they stepped off the ship? The ocean is vast and unforgiving, and the Mary Celeste is a reminder of just how easily people can vanish without a trace. It is a ghost story without a ghost, a ship without its sailors, a question without an answer. The Mary Celeste drifts eternally through the pages of history, its secrets swallowed by the sea. Part 7. The disappearance of the USS Cyclops, the Navy's greatest mystery. The vastness of the ocean has swallowed entire ships without a trace, leaving behind no clues, no wreckage, and no answers among these maritime vanishings. Few are as baffling as the disappearance of the USS Cyclops, a United States Navy vessel that set sail in 1918 and was never seen again. With over 300 crew members and passengers aboard, its disappearance remains the single largest loss of life in USI Navy history outside of combat. USS Cyclops was a coaler, a massive cargo ship designed to transport coal to fuel warships. During World War I, it was over 540 feet long, powered by steam engines, and known for its immense bulk. Reinforced steel hull built to endure rough seas, the Cyclops was considered an indestructible behemoth, but in March of 1918, entered the Bermuda Triangle and was never heard from again. The ship had departed Rio de Janeiro, Brazil on February 16, 1918. After delivering supplies to American allies, aboard were 309 people, including crew and passengers, as well as a full cargo load of 10,800 tons of manganese, or used for steel production in wartime manufacturing. On March 4th, the USS Cyclops made an unscheduled stop in Barbados, where the crew reported minor engine issues, but nothing alarming. After 3 days in port, it set off for Baltimore, Maryland. It was supposed to arrive on March 13th, 1918, but it never did. Not a single distress signal was sent. No wreckage was ever found. The ship simply vanished. At first, the Navy suspected a German attack. World War I was still raging, and German OTS prowled the Atlantic. However, there was no evidence of an attack, no recorded explosions, no debris, and no reports from enemy forces indicating they had sunk an American vessel. In fact, German naval record from the war show no indication that the Cyclops was ever targeted. As the weeks turned into months, the disappearance of the USS Cyclops became even stranger. No other ship in the region had reported seeing it. The area it was last traveling through was known for calm waters at the time. The vessel's reinforced steel hull made it nearly impossible for a storm to sink it without warning, and yet it was gone. U.S. Navy launched an extensive search effort covering thousands of square miles of the Atlantic, but not a single clue was ever found. No floating debris, no life rafts, no oil slicks. The ship and all 309 aboard had vanished without a trace. Over the decades, multiple theories have surfaced, but none have provided a definitive answer. Some experts believe the USS Cyclops suffered a catastrophic structural failure, possibly due to the weight of its manganese or cargo. If improperly loaded, the shifting cargo could have destabilized the ship, causing it to capsize suddenly. However, this does not explain why no distress signal was ever sent. Even in a sinking scenario, the crew would have had minutes, if not hours, to radio for help. Another theory suggests that the ship encountered a freak storm or rogue wave capable of sinking. Even the largest of vessels, the Atlantic Ocean, is known for unpredictable weather patterns, and it is possible that an unforeseen disaster struck the ship without warning. However, weather records from the time indicate calm seas, making this theory unlikely. Perhaps the most famous explanation ties the disappearance of the Cyclops to the legend of the Bermuda Triangle. The ship was traveling directly through the area when it vanished, fueling speculation that something explained happened. While the Bermuda Triangle has long been associated with disappearances, skeptics argue that the phenomenon is exaggerated, with most vanishings being attributed to natural causes. However, the complete absence of wreckage, lifeboats, or bodies in the Cyclops case makes it one of the most compelling mysteries associated with the region. Adding to the enigma is the fact that two sister ships of the Cyclops, USS Proteus and USS Naraz, also vanished without a trace in the same region. During World War II, like the Cyclops, they were carrying heavy metal and traveling through the western Atlantic. When they disappeared, no wreckage of either vessel has ever been found. Some researchers have speculated that magnetic anomalies in the Bermuda Triangle could be responsible, affecting compasses, navigation systems, and even causing structural failures in ships. The area is known for unusual magnetic disturbances, which have been documented by pilots and sailors for centuries. Could the USS Cyclops have fallen victim to an unknown force lurking in these waters? There are also those who propose more unorthodox theories. Some believe that the ship was secretly hijacked and taken to another location for its valuable cargo. Others have suggested that it was pulled into an underwater vortex or a dimensional anomaly, disappearing into an unknown realm. While these ideas are often dismissed as fantasy, the complete lack of evidence leaves room for speculation. Over a century later, the USS Cyclops remains one of the greatest unsolved disappearances in naval history. Modern sonar and deep sea exploration technologies have yet to locate any trace of the vessel. If the ship lies at the bottom of the ocean, it rests in one of the deepest, most remote areas of the Atlantic, a watery grave where no light reaches and no answers emerge until the wreck is found. The fate of the USS Cyclops remains a mystery, lost at the depths, a ghostly reminder that the sea still holds old secrets no one has yet uncovered. Part 8. The Baltic Sea anomaly. A sunken UFO or natural phenomenon. The ocean hides many strange and unexplained discoveries, but few have stirred as much controversy as the Baltic Sea anomaly, a massive, unexplained object found on the seafloor between Sweden and Finland. Discovered in 2011 by a team of treasure hunters, the structure is unlike anything seen before, resembling something out of science fiction. A perfectly circular 200 wide formation with unusual ridges, strange grooves leading away from it, and an eerie metallic appearance. The find ignited speculation almost immediately. Was this an ancient sunken structure, a crashed UFO, a secret military weapon, or just a bizarre natural formation over a decade later. Despite numerous expeditions, no definitive explanation has been found. The Baltic Sea anomaly remains one of the most perplexing underwater discoveries in modern history. The story of the anomaly begins with Ocean X, a professional deep-sea salvage team, led by Swedish divers Peter Lindberg and Dennis Osberg. They were using sonar equipment to scan the Baltic Sea floor in search of sunken shipwrecks when they stumbled upon something they never expected. The sonar images revealed a massive circular structure unlike any natural formation seen in the area before. It rested over 300 feet below the surface, and its symmetrical design stood in stark contrast to the chaotic underwater landscape around it. Even stranger, a long 985-foot track extended behind the object, as if it had skidded across the seafloor before coming to a halt at first. Lindberg and his team thought it was a glitch in the sonar readings, but as they analyzed the data, they became convinced the object was real. The unusual shape, sharp edges, and seemingly deliberate design led many to believe that the structure could not have been formed by natural geological processes. It wasn't long before theories of extraterrestrial origins began circulating. One of the most popular ideas is that the Baltic Sea anomaly is a crashed UFO abandoned on the seafloor thousands, if not millions of years ago. The object's near perfect circular shape, large size, and structured ridges resemble traditional depictions of flying saucers. Further analysis of the sonar images revealed that parts of the anomaly appear to have angular edges, almost as if they had been artificially carved. The skid marks leading up to it suggested that whatever it was, it hadn't simply settled there naturally. It had moved across the ocean floor, adding to the mystery. Divers who explored the site reported strange malfunctions with their equipment whenever they got close to the object. Electronic devices, including cameras and communication systems, shut down unexpectedly, only to work again when they surfaced. This phenomenon led to speculation that the anomaly might still be emitting some kind of energy, possibly remnants of an advanced propulsion system. Could it be that this craft, whatever it was, had been abandoned with some of its technology still functioning? However, many scientists are skeptical of the UFO theory. Marine geologists argue that the Baltic Sea anomaly is likely a natural rock formation, possibly a glacial deposit left behind from the Ice Age. The Baltic region was covered by glaciers over 10,000 years ago, and as the ice sheet receded, they could have dragged large rock formations across the seabed, creating the appearance of skid marks and shaping the anomaly into its strange form. Some believe that the ridges and unusual textures on the structure's surface may be due to natural erosion over thousands of years. Still, this explanation does not satisfy everyone. The composition of the object remains a mystery. When small samples were retrieved, researchers discovered that parts of the anomaly contained high levels of metal, including iron, titanium, and manganese materials, often associated with industrial processes, not naturally occurring formations on the seafloor. Could this suggest that the structure was once man-made or extraterrestrial in origin? If it is a natural formation, why does it appear so distinct from the surrounding seabed? Another theory proposes that the anomaly could be the remains of an ancient sunken city or structure. If this WER be true, it could represent one of the oldest lost civilizations ever discovered. Some researchers have drawn comparisons between the Baltic Sea anomaly and the Yonaguni Monument, an underwater structure off the coast of Japan that many believe is the remains of an ancient man-made pyramid. Could it be possible that the anomaly is evidence of a civilization that existed before recorded history, one that was lost to rising sea levels thousands of years ago? Despite numerous expeditions, the true nature of the Baltic Sea anomaly remains unknown. No exclusive proof has been found to definitively categorize it as natural, artificial, or extraterrestrial. The challenging conditions of the Baltic Sea, its cold, murky waters and thick layers of sediment, have made further exploration difficult, leaving many questions unanswered to this day. The anomaly continues to spark debate. It stands as a reminder that the ocean, even in heavily explored regions still hold secrets waiting to be uncovered. Whether the Baltic Sea anomaly is a glacial remnant, an ancient artifact, or something far beyond human understanding, one thing is certain: it is a mystery that refuses to be ignored. Part 9: The Lost Submarine, USS Scorpion. A tragic deep-sea mystery. The depths of the ocean hold many secrets, and among them are the final resting places of vessels that never returned. One such case is that of the USS Scorpion SSN 589, a nuclear-powered submarine that vanished under mysterious circumstances in May 1968. The loss of the Scorpion and its 99 crew members remains one of the greatest unsolved maritime tragedies in U.S. naval history. Despite extensive investigations, conflicting reports, and countless theories, the true cause of the submarine's disappearance remains unknown. Was it an internal malfunction, an accidental detonation, or something more sinister? The USS Scorpion was one of 6 skipjack-class submarines, designed for high-speed, deep-sea missions at the height of the Cold War, commissioned in 1960. It was built for stealth and endurance, carrying advanced sonar equipment and a deadly arsenal of torpedoes. The Scorpion was assigned to the Atlantic Fleet and frequently operated in waters filled with geopolitical tensions, tracking Soviet vessels and performing classified surveillance missions. In February 1968, the USS Scorpion was deployed for a mission in the Mediterranean. After months at sea, the submarine received orders to return home to Norfolk, Virginia on May 20th, 1968. It sent a routine radio transmission from its position about 400 m southwest of the Azores. After that, all contact was lost when the Scorpion failed to arrive at Norfolk by the expected date of May 27th. The Navy declared the submarine missing and presumed lost. The disappearance of the USS Scorpion triggered one of the most extensive naval search operations in history. Over the following months, sonar arrays and deep-sea surveillance vessels combed the Atlantic in search of the wreckage. On October 30th, 1968, 5 months after its disappearance, the wreck of the Scorpion was finally located at the bottom of the ocean, more than 9,800 feet below the surface. When investigators examined the wreckage, they discovered something chilling. The Scorpion had been torn apart, the hull was shattered, and the submarine remains were spread across the seabed. The forward section appeared to have suffered an explosive event, but there were no immediate signs of an external attack. There were no distress signals, no survivors, and no clear explanation for why the submarine had been destroyed so suddenly. Theories and investigations. The U.S. Navy conducted a classified investigation into the loss of the Scorpion, but the official findings were inconclusive. The most widely accepted theory is that the submarine suffered a catastrophic torpedo malfunction, possibly due to a hot-running torpedo, an unintentional activation of a torpedo inside the vessel. If such an event occurred, the crew would have had mere minutes to react before the torpedo detonated, blowing the submarine apart from within. However, this theory remains speculative, as no conclusive evidence of an internal explosion was ever recovered from the wreckage. Another possible explanation is structural failure. Some experts believe that mechanical defects or weaknesses in the hull could have led to a catastrophic implosion, particularly if the submarine was operating at extreme depths. While unlikely, some declassified documents suggest that the Scorpion had been experiencing mechanical issues before its final voyage, including electrical malfunctions and unreliable torpedo systems. A far more controversial theory is that the USS Scorpion was sunk by a Soviet attack during the Cold War. Tensions between the US and the Soviet Union were at an all-time high, and submarine warfare was a game of constant cat and mouse. Some former military officials and researchers speculate that the Scorpion may have been ambushed by a Soviet submarine, possibly as retaliation for the US signing of a Soviet sub earlier that year. While there is no hard evidence to support this theory, documents released in later decades suggest that the US Navy deliberately suppressed certain details regarding the Scorpion's last mission. Fuel speculation that there was more to the story than what was publicly admitted. Adding to the intrigue, several other submarines mysteriously vanished in 1968, including the Soviet submarine K-129, which disappeared in the Pacific in March of the same year. Some researchers have speculated that these losses were part of a secret underwater conflict between the superpowers, one that was never acknowledged in official records. Could the Scorpion have been a casualty of an unknown battle beneath the waves? Yet another bizarre theory suggests that the submarine may have encountered an unknown deep-sea phenomenon. The pressures at extreme depths are immense, and some researchers have questioned whether an unexplained geological event, such as an underwater earthquake or an anomalous pressure disturbance, could have played a role in the submarine's destruction. Though this idea is far-fetched, the ocean remains one of the least understood environments on Earth, capable of producing forces that even modern science struggles to explain. The enduring mystery, despite numerous investigations, the loss of the USS Scorpion remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of naval history. Unlike other high-profile submarine disasters, such as the sinking of the USS Thresher in 1963 or the K disaster in 2000, the Scorpion's fate is still shrouded in secrecy. Declassified documents from the U.S. Navy provide only partial answers, and key evidence, such as the submarine's exact final movements and classified mission details, remains unavailable to the public. In the decades since its sinking, deep-sea explorations have revisited the wreck, but the truth remains elusive. If the Scorpion was lost due to an accident, why did the Navy conceal critical details for so long? If it was attacked, why has no definitive proof emerged? And if something else was responsible, what forces could have caused a nuclear-powered submarine to vanish without warning? The USS Scorpion now rests in the darkness of the Atlantic, a silent relic of a bygone era. The sea has claimed its secrets, leaving behind only questions until new evidence emerges. The fate of the Scorpion and its 99 crew members will remain one of the most haunting deep-sea mysteries ever recorded. Part 10: The Unexplained SOS of the SS Arung Madan, a ship of dead men. The ocean has witnessed countless shipwrecks, disasters, and disappearances, but few are as eerie as the SS Arung Madan, a ghost ship found drifting in the Strait of Malacca in 1948. The circumstances surrounding its discovery were beyond chilling. The crew was dead, their faces frozen in expressions of sheer terror, and the ship itself was abandoned without any clear cause. To this day, the Arung Madan remains one of the most perplexing maritime mysteries ever recorded. What happened aboard this ill-fated vessel, and what could have caused such a terrifying demise? The SOS that started it all. The story begins in June 1948, when multiple ships in the vicinity of the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world, picked up a distress call from the Arung Madan. The transmission was brief, yet its content was terrifying. All officers, including captain, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead. There was a brief pause, followed by a final cryptic message, I die. Then silence. The chilling nature of the message prompted a rapid response. The Silver Star, an American merchant vessel, was the first to locate the Arung Madan. As the crew of the Silver Star approached, they noticed that the ship appeared completely undamaged, with no signs of distress from the outside. But when they boarded, what they found defied all logic. A ship of the dead. Every single crew member aboard the Arung Madan was dead. Their bodies were scattered across the decks, eyes wide open, mouths twisted in agony, their arms raised as if trying to fend off something unseen. Even the ship's dog lay dead, seemingly frozen. Mid-snore, the captain was slumped over in the chart room, his lifeless hands still gripping a pen. To radio operator, the one who had sent the distress call was found dead at a station, his fingers still hovering over the marquee. Despite this nightmarish scene, there were no visible injuries on any of the bodies, no bullet wounds, no stab marks, no signs of struggle. It was as if death had claimed them all simultaneously and instantaneously. Even more disturbing, the air aboard the ship was described as unnaturally cold despite the scorching tropical heat outside. Realizing that something truly unnatural had occurred, the Silver Star's crew attempted to tow the Arung Madan back to port. But before they could begin, thick smoke suddenly began pouring from the ship's cargo hold. The crew barely had time to cut the tow line before the entire ship exploded with an intensity that sent flames and debris skyward within minutes. The Angmudon had vanished beneath the waves, leaving nothing behind except a lingering sense of terror. Theories and speculation with the Angmudon now lost forever. Speculation ran rampant about what could have killed it. Who builds an underwater pyramid and just forgets it? Nope. Just nope. If I see glowing eyes in a trench, I'm out. Are you serious? A whole ship disappeared without a trace? That's not science. That's Lovecraft. I'm not saying I'd swim away screaming, but I'd swim fast. Crew, over the years, many theories have emerged, each attempting to explain the inexplicable poisonous gas leak. One of the most widely accepted theories is that the Angmudon was illegally transporting hazardous materials, possibly potassium, cyanide, nitroglycerin, or even nerve agents left over from World War II. If a leak had occurred, it could have released a deadly gas that asphyxiated the crew while leaving their bodies eerily intact. The sudden explosion could have been caused by a buildup of fumes igniting from a spark. 2 Carbon monoxide poison. Another theory suggests that a malfunction in the ship's boiler system may have released carbon monoxide into the air, slowly suffocating the crew. This could explain why they were found in bizarre positions, struggling to breathe, disoriented, and unable to react rationally. However, carbon monoxide poisoning doesn't typically cause expressions of terror, making this theory incomplete. 3 Paranormal or supernatural causes. Some believe that the Orang Dan fell victim to a supernatural force, possibly a cursed cargo, a ghostly presence, or even an encounter with an unknown deep-sea entity. The fact that the bodies were found with looks of sheer horror, yet with no visible cause of death, has fueled speculation that something unnatural was aboard the ship. Stories of ghost ships and spectral encounters are common in maritime folklore. Some sailors insist that whatever haunted the Angmudon was not of this world, for alien contact or deep sea phenomena. A more fringe theory suggests that the Angmudon encountered an extraterrestrial force or a mysterious deep sea anomaly. Could the ship have stumbled upon something in the ocean that was never meant to be found? Some theorists point to stories of unidentified submerged objects, USOs, strange fast-moving objects seen under the water that could have had an effect on the crew. However, there is no hard evidence to support this claim. 5 A hoax. Skeptics argue that the entire story of the Angmudon may have been fabricated or exaggerated. The first accounts of the ghost ship appeared in maritime trade magazines in the 1950s, with no official records of a vessel named the Angmudon and shipping registries. Some believe the story was a piece of Cold War era misinformation or a legend that grew over time. However, supporters of the story argue that many unregistered or covert operations existed during this period, making it possible that the ship's existence was deliberately erased from history. The lingering mystery, even decades later, the Aang maiden remains one of the most terrifying maritime mysteries of all time. No definitive explanation exists for what happened to its crew, and with the ship now lost beneath the sea, the full truth may never be known. Was it a tragedy caused by human error, a chemical disaster, or something far beyond our understanding? The ocean holds many secrets, and some may never be revealed. Whatever happened aboard the Angmudon, one thing is certain: those who were there died in unimaginable terror, and somewhere beneath the waves the ghost ship and its unanswered questions remain, waiting as if they still have a story to tell. Part 11. The Titanic's lost sister. The disappearance of the HMHS Britannic. The Titanic is the most famous shipwreck in history, but few people know that it had a sister ship, the HMHS Britannic, which also met a tragic fate under mysterious circumstances. Unlike the Titanic, the Britannic did not sink due to an iceberg, but rather an unexplained explosion that tore through its hull in 1916, sending the massive ocean liner to the depths of the I&C. While many believe it was a mine or a torpedo, no conclusive evidence has ever been found to explain what caused one of the largest ships in history to sink in under 55 minutes. Could it have been an act of war, secret sabotage, or did something far more unusual bring about its demise? The Britannic, the Titanic's forgotten sister, the Britannic was the third and final vessel of the Olympic-class liners built by the White Star Line alongside its infamous predecessors, the Olympic and the Titanic. Following the Titanic disaster in 1912, the Britannic was redesigned with reinforced hulls and state-of-the-art safety measures, making it far stronger than its doomed sister ship. At 883 feet long and 48,000 tons, it was the largest of the three and was intended to be the most luxurious passenger liner ever built. However, before it could enter commercial service world, war broke out. The Britannic was converted into a hospital ship and repainted white with large red crosses to signify its neutral non-combatant role. From 1915 to 1916, it transported thousands of wounded soldiers from battlefields across Europe, earning a reputation as a life-saving vessel. But on its sixth voyage, disaster struck, and to this day, no one knows exactly why. The mysterious explosion on November 21st, 1916, the Britannic was sailing through the Kea Channel in the Iron Sea near Greece, when a massive explosion rocked the ship at 8:12 a.m. The force of the blast was so powerful that it ripped open multiple watertight compartments, causing the vessel to take on water at an alarming rate. Unlike the Titanic, the Britannic was better equipped to survive such an event, yet it still sank within 55 minutes. The first mystery is the cause of the explosion. Some historians believe the Britannic struck a German naval mine, which had been deployed in the area by U-boat submarines. However, others argue that a mine alone could not have torn through the hull with such devastating force. Could the Britannic have been hit by a torpedo? Despite being a hospital ship, some survivors reported seeing a second explosion, leading to speculation that the ship may have been deliberately targeted, but by whom and why? Sabotage theories and wartime cover-ups. One of the most controversial theories is that the Britannic was sabotaged from within as the war escalated. Intelligence reports suggested that enemy spies had infiltrated Allied territories, possibly planting explosive devices on high-value targets. Was the Britannic victim of espionage, its sinking covered up to avoid further panic? Another theory suggests that the British government knew the area was dangerous, but intentionally sailed the ship through a minefield as part of a strategic sacrifice. Some believe the Britannic was sunk to provoke outrage against Germany, giving the Allies more justification to retaliate in the war. If true, this would mean that the lives of over 1,000 crew and medical staff were knowingly put in harm's way. The paranormal connection tie-in, a cursed ship, adding to the intrigue. Some believe that the Britannic was cursed, just like the Titanic. A number of eerie coincidences link the two ships, leading many to speculate about a supernatural force at play. Both ships suffered catastrophic disasters within just 4 years of each other. Both ships were designed to be unsinkable, yet both sank under mysterious circumstances. Violet Jessup, a nurse who survived them Titanic's sinking, was also on board the Titanic and survived again. Some claim that a mummified Egyptian priestess believed to be cursed was aboard both ships when they sank, though the legend of the Titanic's cursed mummy has been debunked. The eerie similarities between the disasters remain unexplained. The strange fate of the Britannic's wreck, unlike the Titanic, which remained lost for decades, the wreck of the Britannic was discovered in 1975 by legendary explorer Jack Cousteau. However, despite multiple investigations, the shipwreck still holds more questions than answers. Notably, the Britannic sits perfectly upright on the ocean floor in near pristine condition, which is highly unusual for a shipwreck. What's more, certain areas of the wreck show unexpected structural damage, suggesting that the ship may have been torn apart by an unnatural force. Modern sonar scans have failed to find conclusive evidence of a mine or torpedo impact, deepening the mystery. If the explosion was natural, where is the proof? If it was an attack, why were no records of it ever uncovered? And if it was sabotage, who was behind it? The enduring mystery to this day. The sinking of the Britannic remains one of the greatest unsolved maritime disasters in history. Was it an accident, a war, an act of enemy aggression, or something even stranger? Despite being overshadowed by the Titanic's legendary status, the Britannic story is equally haunting. An unsinkable ship that met a fate no one saw coming, perhaps lying beneath the sea. The wreck of the Britannic still holds its secrets, waiting for the day when the truth will finally surface. Part 12: The ghostly waters of Lake Ball, Russia's deepest mystery. While most of the world's greatest deep-sea mysteries take place in the oceans, one of the strangest and most chilling occurs in an inland body of water, Lake Ball in Siberia, Russia. As the deepest and oldest freshwater lake on Earth, Lake Ball holds more water than all the Great Lakes combined, and with that immense depth comes stories of UFOs, disappearing divers, strange glowing orbs, and even encounters with unknown creatures. Some have even speculated that the lake is home to an entire extraterrestrial base hidden beneath its icy waters. Despite scientific expeditions, many questions remain unanswered. What exactly lurks beneath the dark, uncharted depths of Lake be the deepest lake in the world? Lake Ball is staggering in its proportions, stretching nearly 400 m in length, reaching depths of over 5,300 feet, and estimated to be at least 25 million years old. Unlike other large lakes, Ball is constantly expanding due to tectonic activity that continues to reshape its floor. Scientists believe it may eventually become a new ocean millions of years from now. Its immense size and extreme depth make it one of the least BL bodies of water in the world, which only adds to its aura of mystery. The lake is also home to thousands of unique species, many of which exist nowhere else on Earth. The ball seal, for instance, is the only freshwater seal species in existence, raising serious questions about how a marine mammal ended up in a landlocked lake thousands of miles from any ocean. Even more mysterious are the strange reports of bizarre, unidentified life forms lurking in the depths. The 1982 Soviet military encounter, one of the most shocking and well-documented accounts of high strangeness at Lake Ball, occurred in 1982 when a team of Soviet military divers conducting routine training exercises allegedly encountered something not of this world. The official report, later leaked to the public, describes how the divers, while operating at a depth of 50 m, 164 feet, suddenly came across a group of unknown humanoid beings swimming without diving suits or breathing equipment. The beings were described as at least 9 foot tall, wearing tight silver suits, and possessing large bulbous heads with no apparent breathing apparatus. The Soviet divers attempted to capture one of the beings, but in a sudden and violent force, they were propelled to the surface as if by an invisible energy blast. The rapid ascent resulted in decompression snests for 3 of the divers, all of whom later died from the effects of surfacing too quickly. The survivor team members described the encounter in terrified detail, claiming that they had felt an overwhelming sense of being watched and that the entities were communicating telepathically. The Soviet government quickly classified the incident, and for decades it remained one of Russia's most tightly held underwater secrets. However, leaked documents and testimonies from retired military personnel have kept the legend of the ball swimmers alive. Were these creatures a previously undiscovered intelligent species, or did the Soviet divers come face to face with extraterrestrial beings operating beneath the lake? UFO sightings over the Lake Ball has also been the site of numerous UFO sightings, many of which have been reported by both civilians and military personnel. In 1958, the crew of a Soviet Tu-14 airliner flying over Ball reported a glowing disc-shaped object following their plane for several minutes before vanishing at impossible speeds. Similar sightings have been made by fishermen and villagers living along the lac shores, who frequently report strange luminous orbs rising out of the water at night. One of the most famous incidents occurred in 1977 when a Soviet research submarine was exploring the depths of the lake. The crew instruments suddenly malfunctioned, and they reported seeing a blinding light illuminating the water from below. Despite being at a depth where no natural sunlight could reach, the light was so intense that the entire submarine interior was day bathed in an eerie bluish glow. The craft's cameras mysteriously failed to capture any footage, and the crew, shaken by the experience, was forced to abort their mission. This and many other encounters have led some researchers to suggest that Lake Ball may be hiding in underwater UFO base, possibly one of the oldest and most secretive on Earth. While this may sound like science fiction, even Russian government officials have acknowledged that the lake is home to unexplained phenomena that defy explanation. The Ball Triangle, a zone of disappearances beyond alien encounters. Lake Ball is notorious for mysterious disappearances, particularly in an area known as the Ball Triangle, a region of the lake that has been compared to the Bermuda Triangle. One of the most well-known disappearances occurred in 1915 when a group of CAC soldiers traveling across the frozen lake simply vanished. Witnesses claimed that strange lights have been seen hovering over the ice just hours before, leading some to believe the soldiers have been abducted or pulled into another dimension. To this day, no trace of them has ever been found. Similarly, in 2011, a group of experienced hikers went missing after setting out on a camping trip along Ball's rugged shoreline. Their tents and supplies were found intact, but the hikers themselves were never seen again. No signs of struggle or animal attack were present, deepening the mystery. Some locals believe that the lake itself calls to certain people, drawing them into its depths, never to return. Theories behind the mystery. Several theories attempt to explain the strange events surrounding Lake Ball. Natural explanations. Scientists argue that the lake's unique geological activity, shifting tectonic plates, and methane gas releases could explain some of the strange lights and disappearances. Sudden violent underwater currents could also contribute to accidents and drownings. Secret military experiments. Some theorists believe that Lake Ball has long been used as a testing ground for classified Soviet and Russian military projects, including underwater weapons and experimental submersibles. Extraterrestrial presence. UFO researchers claim that the lake's long history of UFO activity, humanoid encounters, and luminous orbs suggest that it could be home to an alien base hidden deep beneath its surface. Undiscovered aquatic species. Given that Lake Ball is home to thousands of unique and ancient species, some scientists believe that there may still be intelligent or unknown life forms living in its depths, possibly explaining reports of large humanoid creatures. The enduring enigma, with its unexplored depths, its history of disappearances, and its reputation as a hotspot for UFO activity, Lake Ball remains one of the most baffling and chilling underwater mysteries in the world. Even with modern technology, much of its deepest trenches remain unexplored, leaving many to wonder what else is lurking in the abyss. As long as the lake continues to swallow secrets and defy explanations, the legend of Lake Ball will persist, an ancient body of water that has kept its mysteries hidden for millions of years, waiting for the right moment to reveal them to the world. Part 13. The Phantom Submarine encounters unseen forces beneath the waves. For decades, the world's navies have reported encounters with unidentified submerged objects, USO, those highly advanced, elusive entities that seem to defy the known laws of physics. Unlike their airborne counterparts, these mysterious craft operate in the depths of the ocean, moving at impossible speeds, disappearing without a trace, and even engaging in evasive maneuvers that defy modern technology. Many of these encounters have been recorded in military archives, yet their details remain highly classified. Could these phantom submarines be experimental technology, evidence of a hidden underwater civilization, or something even stranger, the unseen threat? Submarines stalked by unknown entities. One of the earliest known cases of phantom submarines occurred in 1942 during World War II, when the crew of a British Royal Navy submarine reported being shadowed by an unknown underwater object. The sonar operator described the target as moving at an unbelievable speed, far faster than any known vessel of the time. As the crew attempted to investigate, the object suddenly disappeared, leaving no trace behind. Similar reports emerged from German Yachts and American naval forces, all describing unexplained underwater craft capable of maneuvering far beyond human engineering. Perhaps the most famous case occurred in the 1960s when a U.S. Traiping, a U.S. Navy submarine, reportedly captured photographic evidence of a massive, unknown underwater object in the Arctic Circle declassifying. Images show a huge cigar-shaped craft emerging from beneath the ice, while some claim these images are classified. Military experiments, others believe they provide direct proof of USOs operating beneath Earth's oceans. The Cold War encounters the Soviet Union's battle with the unknown. During the Cold War, Soviet submarine commanders frequently reported highly unusual underwater events. One of the most chilling accounts comes from a 1970s classified Soviet naval report detailing an encounter in the Pacific Ocean. According to the report, a Soviet submarine detected an unidentified submerged object traveling at speeds exceeding 400 knots, 740 commands/far beyond the capabilities of any known submarine or torpedo. The crew attempted to lock onto the object using sonar, but each time it changed course, instantly displaying intelligence and maneuverability. No conventional vessel should have had the object, then descended into the ocean's depths, vanishing completely from radar despite extensive searches. The Soviets never found any explanation. In another case, a Russian naval expedition in 1982 near the Bermuda Triangle encountered an object they called the Fastam, which was observed traveling at inconceivable speeds beneath the water. Attempts to follow or intercept the object were futile. Some researchers believe that these encounters suggest the presence of unknown underwater craft monitoring human activity, or even bases hidden in the ocean's deepest trenches. The silent war beneath the waves. Several declassified U.S. Navy reports also document disturbing encounters with USOs, particularly near deep-sea trenches such as the Mariana Trench. A striking case took place in 1963 when a U.S. Navy conducted an anti-submarine warfare exercise near Puerto Rico. As nuclear submarines maneuvered at high-depth, sonar picked up an unknown object moving at an impossible speed, estimated at over 500 miles per hour. Despite their best efforts, Navy forces could not track the object as it dove deeper than any known submarine could survive. After the event, the U.S. Navy classified the reports, leading to decades of speculation. What kind of craft could withstand such pressure? Could it be an unknown aquatic species? Or was this evidence of extraterrestrial technology monitoring human activity? Theories behind the Phantom submarine phenomenon. One, extraterrestrial presence. Many UFO researchers believe that these encounters suggest the existence of underwater alien bases. If extraterrestrials have been visiting Earth for centuries, it would make sense for them to hide in the oceans where human surveillance is virtually non-existent. Beyond a few miles deep, the two secret military technology. Some believe these sightings could be linked to classified military experiments, possibly advanced drone submarines developed by world powers. However, even today, no known human-made vehicle is capable of the speeds or maneuvers described in these encounters. The three, an unknown intelligent species. Could there be an undiscovered, highly intelligent species living in the ocean depths, given that over 80% of the world's oceans remain unexplored? The idea of an aquatic civilization is not impossible. Perhaps these Phantom submarines are evidence of an advanced underwater race monitoring human activity before natural phenomena. Some skeptics argue that sonar glitches, underwater volcanic activity, and deep sea currents could create false sonar readings, leading to misinterpretations. However, this fails to explain cases where submarines physically detected the presence of a moving object, the enduring mystery for decades. Military forces worldwide have encountered unidentified underwater objects that defy logic. Whether they are extraterrestrial visitors, undiscovered species, or secret military technology, the fact remains that something unknown lurks beneath the ocean's depths. Despite extensive efforts to investigate, the world's navies remain tight-lipped about what they've truly encountered beneath the waves. If the truth is out there, it may be resting in the darkest corners of the deepest, most mysterious frontier on Earth, the ocean itself. Part 14. The charted depths of the Hadal Zone. the final frontier of Earth's oceans. While space exploration captures the imagination of millions, an equally mysterious and largely unexplored frontier lies right here on Earth, the Hadal Zone, the deepest region of our planet's oceans. Named after Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, the Hadal Zone consists of the world's deepest ocean trenches reaching depths of over 36,000 feet, 11,000 m. These extreme depths where the pressure is more than 1,000 times out of the surface are largely inaccessible to humans, making them one of the last true unknown regions of our planet. What lurks in this abyssal darkness? Could the Hadal Zone be home to undiscovered species, lost shipwrecks, or even remnants of ancient civilizations buried beneath the crushing weight of the sea? What is the Hadal Zone? The Hadal Zone is defined as the deepest part of the ocean, starting at around 20,000 feet, 6,000 m, and extending to the bottom of the deepest trenches. This realm includes famous locations such as the Mariana Trench, the Tonga Trench, and the Chromatic Trench. Unlike the more well-known Abyssal Zone, which covers the vast majority of the deep sea floor, the Hadal Zone consists of narrow, deep trenches that remain among the most extreme environments on Earth. The conditions here are so harsh that only a handful of submersibles have ever reached these depths, and even fewer human beings have set foot, or rather submersible, in these regions. The pressures are so immense that even the most advanced military submarines would be crushed like a tin can at these depths. The strange creatures of the Hadal Zone, despite its seemingly inhospitable nature, the Hadal Zone is not devoid of life. In fact, it is home to some of the most bizarre otherworldly creatures ever discovered. One such creature is the Mariana snailfish, a translucent gelatinous fish that has been found thriving in depths of over 26,000 feet. Unlike most fish which rely on gas-filled swim bladder to control buoyancy, this snailfish has evolved to withstand crushing pressures by using soft gelatinous tissues that allow it to survive where no other vertebrate can. Then there are the giant amphipods, shrimp-like crustaceans that grow to 10 times the size of their shallow water relatives. These creatures scavenge on whatever organic matter sinks from the surface, surviving in complete darkness with no sunlight to guide them. Even more disturbing are the mystery sightings of large, unclassified creatures moving through the trenches. Sonar scans conducted in the Mariana Trench have picked up huge moving objects, some larger than any known sea creature. Could these be undiscovered leviathans, remnants of prehistoric species, or something altogether unknown? Unexplained sound from the deep. In addition to bizarre life forms, the Hadal Zone is also a source of mysterious sounds that have puzzled researchers for decades. Among the most famous is the bloop, a powerful ultra-low frequency sound detected in 1997 by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. The bloop was so loud that it was picked up by multiple underwater listening stations thousands of miles apart. While some scientists initially suspected it could be the sound of a massive, unknown marine creature, later studies suggested it might have been caused by the breakup of an Antarctic ice shelf. However, not all researchers agree, and the idea that something huge and alive made the sound still lingers. Another sound, known as the upsweep, has been recorded seasonally since the 1990s. It consists of long ascending whales, and its origin remains completely unknown. Could it be a yet undiscovered species communicating through ultra-low frequencies? Or is it something even stranger? The Mariana Trench, a portal to the unknown. The Mariana Trench, the deepest trench on Earth, has long been the subject of conspiracy theories and speculation. Some researchers believe that its extreme depths could harbor secrets, possibly even an entire ecosystem cut off from the rest of the world. One popular theory suggests that the trench could serve as a hiding place for ancient species that have survived unchanged for millions of years, similar to how Kansas species of fish thought to have gone extinct 66 million years ago were found alive in deep waters. There are also reports from deep-sea exploration teams of massive moving shapes seen in the dark too. Large to be ordinary fish, are these undiscovered predators lurking in the trench, or are these misidentified natural formations exaggerated by the isolation and darkness Are there ancient ruins beneath the Hadal Zone? A more controversial theory suggests that ancient ruins may lie hidden beneath the sediment of deep-sea trenches. While most civilizations developed on land, it is possible that rising sea levels over thousands of years have submerged entire cities. Some theorists believe that evidence of a lost civilization could be buried in these depths, waiting to be uncovered by modern technology. In recent years, deep-sea EXP editions have discovered strange, symmetrical formations on the ocean floor, some resembling stone structures or roads. One such discovery, known as the Yonaguni Monument, was found off the coast of Japan. Some experts believe it is a natural rock formation, while others argue it could be a man-made structure that predates recorded history. Could similar structures lie deeper, hidden in the trenches where no human has ventured? Theories on what lurks in the Hadal Zone. 1. Prehistoric megafauna submarine. Biologists believe that deep-sea trenches could be home to species long thought extinct, such as Megalodon, the giant prehistoric shark that once ruled Earth's oceans. While no evidence has confirmed this, unidentified sonar readings of massive moving objects continue to fuel speculation. 2. Extraterrestrial life forms. Some researchers speculate that if extraterrestrials visited Earth in ancient times, they may have hidden their presence beneath the ocean where human exploration is limited and difficult. Could some of the unknown sounds and sonar anomalies be evidence of alien technology or bases beneath the ocean? 3. An unknown intelligent deep-sea species. Given the vast, unexplored nature of the Hadal Zone, could an intelligent marine species have evolved in the deep sea, completely hidden from human observation? Some researchers have proposed the possibility of a deep-sea civilization that operates in extreme depths, avoiding surface interaction and entirely for geophysical anomalies. Some argue that the Hadal Zone is simply a region of extreme geological activity where shifting tectonic plates create bizarre natural phenomena that humans have yet to understand. Could deep-sea methane eruptions, underwater volcanic activity, or unique acoustics be responsible for the strange reports? The final frontier. Why we must explore the Hadal Zone while space agencies race to explore Mars and beyond. More than 80% of Earth oceans remain unexplored, with much of the Hadal Zone still shrouded in complete mystery. If there is life, evidence of lost civilizations, or something completely unknown lurking beneath the waves, it may be hidden in these depths far beyond our reach, but closer than we think. For now, the Hadal Zone remains a forbidden abyss, an alien world within our own planet, waiting for humanity to uncover its darkest secrets. Part 15. The uncharted depths of the Hadal Zone, the final frontier of Earth's oceans. While space exploration captures the imagination of millions, an equally mysterious and largely unexplored frontier lies right here on the Hadal Zone, the deepest region of our planet's oceans. Named after Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, the Hadal Zone consists of the world's deepest ocean trenches, reaching depths of over 36,000 feet, 11,000 m. These extreme depths, where the pressure is more than 1,000 times that of the surface, are larger, inaccessible to humans, making them one of the last true unknown regions of our planet. What lurks in this abyssal darkness? Could the Hadal Zone be home to undiscovered species, lost shipwrecks, or even remnants of ancient civilizations buried beneath the crushing weight of the sea? What is the Hadal Zone? The Hadal Zone is defined as the deepest part of the ocean, starting at around 20,000 feet, 6,000 m, and extending to the bottom of the deepest trenches. This realm includes famous locations such as the Mariana Trench, the Tonga Trench, and the Chromatic Trench. Unlike the more well-known abyssal zone, which covers the vast majority of the deep sea floor, the Hadal Zone consists of narrow, deep trenches that remain among the most extreme environments on Earth. The conditions here are so harsh that only a handful of submersibles have ever reached these depths, and even fewer human beings have set foot, or rather submersible, in these regions. The pressures are so immense that even the most advanced military submarines would be crushed like a tin can at these depths. The strange creatures of the Hadal Zone, despite its seemingly inhospitable nature, The Hadal Zone is not devoid of life. In fact, it is home to some of the most bizarre otherworldly creatures ever discovered. One such creature is the Mariana snailfish, a translucent gelatinous fish that has been found thriving in depths of over 26,000 feet. Unlike most fish, which rely on a gas-filled swim bladder to control buoyancy, this snailfish has evolved to withstand crushing pressures by using soft gelatinous tissues that allow it to survive where no other vertebrate can. Then there are the giant amphipods, shrimp-like crustaceans that grow to 10 times the size of their shallow water relatives. These creatures scavenge on whatever organic matter sinks from the surface, surviving in complete darkness with no sunlight to guide them. Even more disturbing are the mystery sightings of large, unclassified creatures moving through the trenches. Sonar scans conducted in the Mariana Trench have picked up huge moving objects, some larger than any known sea creature. Could these be undiscovered leviathans, remnants of prehistoric species, or something altogether unknown? Unexplained sound from the deep. In addition to bizarre life forms, the Hadal Zone is also a source of mysterious sounds that have puzzled researchers for decades. Among the most famous is the bloop, a powerful ultra-low frequency sound detected in 1997 by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. NOAA. The bloop was so loud that it was picked up by multiple underwater listening stations thousands of miles apart. While some scientists initially suspected it could be the sound of a massive, unknown marine creature, later studies suggested it might have been caused by the breakup of an Antarctic ice shelf. However, not all researchers agree, and the idea that something huge and alive made the sound still lingers. Another sound, known as the upsweep, has been recorded seasonally since the 1990s. It consists of long, ascending wails, and its origin remains completely unknown. Could it be a yet undiscovered species communicating through ultra-low frequencies? Or is it something even stranger? The Mariana Trench, a portal to the unknown. The Mariana Trench, the deepest trench on Earth, has long been the subject of conspiracy theories and speculation. Some researchers believe that its extreme depths could harbor secrets, possibly even an entire ecosystem cut off from the rest of the world. One popular theory suggests that the trench could serve as a hiding place for ancient species that have survived unchanged for millions of years, similar to how Kansas species of fish thought to have gone extinct 66 million years ago were found alive in deep waters. There are also reports from deep-sea exploration teams of massive moving shapes seen in the dark, too large to be ordinary fish. Are there these undiscovered predators lurking in the trench? Or are these misidentified natural formations exaggerated by the isolation and darkness? Are there ancient ruins beneath the Hadal Zone? Or more controversial theory suggests that ancient ruins may lie hidden beneath the sediment of deep-sea trenches. While most civilizations developed on land, it is possible that rising sea levels over thousands of years have submerged entire cities. Some theorists believe that evidence of a lost civilization could be buried in these depths, waiting to be uncovered by modern technology. In recent years, deep-sea expeditions have discovered strange, symmetrical formations on the ocean floor, some resembling stone structures or roads. One such discovery, known as the Yonaguni Monument, was found off the coast of Japan. Some experts believe it is a natural rock formation, while others argue it could be a man-made structure that predates recorded history. Could similar structures lie deeper, hidden in the trenches where no human has ventured? Theories on what lurks in the Hadal Zone. One, prehistoric megafauna. Some marine biologists believe that deep-sea trenches could be home to species long thought extinct, such as megalodon, the giant prehistoric shark that once ruled Earth's oceans. While no evidence has confirmed this, unidentified sonar readings of massive moving objects continue to fuel speculation. Two, extraterrestrial life forms. Some researchers speculate that if extraterrestrial rails visited Earth in ancient times, they may have hidden their presence beneath the ocean, where human exploration is limited and difficult. Could some of the unknown sounds and sonar anomalies be evidence of alien technology or bases beneath the ocean? 3, an unknown intelligent deep-sea species. Given the vast, unexplored nature of the Hadal Zone, Could an intelligent marine species have evolved in the deep sea completely hidden from human observation? Some researchers have proposed the possibility of a deep sea civilization that operates in extreme depths, avoiding surface interaction entirely for geophysical anomalies. Some argue that the Hadal Zone is simply a region of extreme geological activity where shifting tectonic plates create bizarre natural phenomena that humans have yet to understand. Could deep-sea methane eruptions, underwater volcanic activity, or unique acoustics be responsible for the strange reports? The final frontier, why we must explore the Hadal Zone while space agency race to explore Mars and beyond. More than 80% of Earth's oceans remain unexplored, with much of the Hadal Zone still shrouded in complete mystery. If there is life, evidence of lost civilizations, or something completely unknown lurking beneath the waves, it may be hidden in these depths far beyond our reach, but closer than we think. For now, the Hadal Zone remains a forbidden abyss, an alien world within our own planet, waiting for humanity to uncover its darkest secrets. Part 16. The black holes of the ocean. The mysterious abyssal whirlpools. The vast expanse of the ocean holds many secrets, but few are as terrifying as the enigmatic abyssal whirlpools, massive swirling vortices that appear suddenly, swallowing everything in their path before vanishing without a trace. Unlike the surface whirlpools known to sailors, these deep-sea anomalies occur in some of the most uncharted and inaccessible parts of the ocean. Some have been blamed for vanishing ships, lost submarines, and even the sudden disappearance of entire sections of the seafloor. Could these whirlpools be natural oceanic phenomena, or are they something far more mysterious, perhaps even portals to an unknown world? The formation of abyssal whirlpools. Abyssal whirlpools are unlike ordinary whirlpools, but form due to tidal forces or surface currents. These powerful underwater vortexes originate in the deepest parts of the ocean, often in trenches, underwater canyons, or areas with unusual geological activity. Scientists believe they may be caused by extreme temperature and salinity differences, creating chaotic, unpredictable currents. Deep-sea geothermal vents, where superheated water erupts from the ocean floor, generating turbulence. Tectonic shifts, where sudden movements in the Earth's crust create massive disturbances in oceanic circulation. But while these explanations sound plausible, they fail to account for the sheer scale and sudden appearance of some of these vortexes, some of which have been recorded swallowing entire vessels. The vanishing of the USS Scorpion and other missing submarines. One of the most chilling mysteries tied to abyssal whirlpools is the disappearance of submarines in otherwise calm waters. The USS Scorpion, a nuclear submarine, was one of the most advanced vessels of its time. Yet in 1968, it vanished in the Atlantic Ocean without issuing a distress signal. When search teams finally located the wreckage, they found it scattered in a way that suggested an external force had violently torn it apart. The official report claimed it was a mechanical failure, but some naval researchers argue that an unknown underwater anomaly, possibly a giant whirlpool, was responsible for pulling the submarine down to its destruction. Similar disappearances have occurred throughout history, with entire naval missions lost without explanation. In many cases, sonar detected strange disturbances in the water only for the signals to be abruptly cut off. Could these events be linked to abyssal whirlpools? Or is there something else lurking in the deep? The Bermuda Triangle's underwater vortices. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the most infamous regions for mysterious disappearances, and recent discoveries suggest that deep-sea whirlpools may be partially responsible. Oceanographers studying the area found huge, rapidly spinning underwater currents, some stretching miles wide. These vortices are capable of swallowing large amounts of water and anything floating on the surface before vanishing as quickly as they appear. Could similar hidden vortexes be responsible for aircraft and ships that have disappeared in the triangle? Some researchers believe that supercavitation, a process where air bubbles reduce friction in water, may allow these whirlpools to form instantaneously, creating a sudden and Inescapable pulled downward theories on abyssal whirlpools one natural geological anomalies. Some scientists argue that abyssal whirlpools are simply the result of unusual oceanographic conditions, are rare, but natural occurrence in deep trenches. However, this does not explain why they appear so suddenly and violently. Two subterranean oceanic gateways. Could the deepest whirlpools be entrances to underwater cave systems leading to hidden regions beneath the ocean floor? Some believe these vortexes could act as gateways, pulling water into vast subterranean reservoirs that remain completely unexplored. 3. Extraterrestrial or unknown technological influence. One of the more controversial theories is that abyssal whirlpools may be artificially created, either by advanced human technology or an unknown non-human intelligence. Some ethologists claim that USO's unidentified submerged objects may use energy fields to manipulate water currents, creating temporary whirlpools as they enter or exit deep-sea locations. 4. Time distortions and dimensional shifts. Perhaps the most bizarre theory suggests that abyssal whirlpools could be distortions in space-time acting as temporary portals to another dimension. Could these vortexes explain why some ships and submarines disappear without a trace, leaving no debris behind? Some believe that these whirlpools could be part of a natural phenomenon that momentarily disrupts the known laws of physics. The search for answers. Despite advances in oceanography, abyssal whirlpools remain one of the least understood phenomena on Earth. Due to the extreme pressure and remoteness of the ocean floor, only a handful of expeditions have attempted to study them directly, and those that have rarely return with conclusive evidence until technology allows us to explore these hidden depths in greater detail. The mystery of the ocean black holes will continue to haunt sailors, scientists, and deep-sea explorers alike. If there is something lurking beneath the waves, something capable of swallowing entire vessels without a trace, that perhaps the greatest discoveries and dangers of the deep sea are yet to come. Part 17. The unexplained sounds of the deep. Mysterious noises from the abyss. The ocean is not silent in its depths. Far beyond the reach of sunlight, sound is one of the only means by which the unseen world communicates. From the faint clicking of deep-sea creatures to the groaning movements of tectonic plates, the vast darkness beneath the waves is alive with noise. But some sounds defy explanation, sounds so strange, so enormous, and so utterly alien that even scientists remain baffled. Recorded by underwater microphones, these mysterious noises seem to emerge from the abyss itself. They are louder than any known marine life, more powerful than any geological event, and in some cases they seem almost deliberate, like signals from something lurking in the deep. What is making these sounds? Are they caused by unknown sea creatures? Could they be echoes of an undiscovered civilization beneath the ocean floor? Are they evidence of something even stranger, something beyond our own understanding? These are the unexplained sounds of the deep. The bloop, the loudest sound ever recorded underwater. The most famous of these unexplained noises is the bloop, a sound so massive that it was detected by multiple underwater listening stations across the Pacific Ocean. The bloop was recorded in 1997 by NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, using a network of hydrophones originally designed to monitor Soviet submarines during the Cold War. These hydrophones were sensitive enough to pick up underwater explosions, whale calls, and seismic shifts, but the bloop was unlike anything ever recorded. The sound lasted for about 1 minute and had a strange organic quality to it, almost like the noise of a living thing. What was even more mysterious was its sheer power. The bloop was so loud that it was picked up by multiple sensors over 3,000 miles apart. To put that into perspective, if a blue whale, the largest animal on Earth, had made the sound, it would have had to be several times larger than any known marine creature. If it was caused by an underwater earthquake, it would have been accompanied by seismic activity, which was not detected. If it was an iceberg breaking apart, it would have needed to be an unprecedented event far larger than anything ever recorded before. Theories about the bloop range from undiscovered deep-sea megapur to alien signals. or even an unknown geological process deep within the Earth. But despite decades of research, no one has been able to fully explain it, and then as suddenly as it appeared. The bloop was never heard again. Julia, a whisper from the abyss, another. Strange sound recorded in 1999 was named Julia. Unlike the bloop, which had a sudden powerful quality, Julia was a long, eerie moan that seemed to stretch endlessly through the water. Julia was so loud that it was detected by every single hydrophone in the Pacific Ocean. The source was unknown, but it appeared to come from the depths of Antarctica's Rossiya region, known for its unexplored underwater trenches and strange geological formations. What made Julia especially eerie was that just a few weeks after the sound was recorded, a NASA satellite reportedly captured an image of a massive shadowy shape moving through the same region. The shape was estimated to be over 100 m long, resembling the form of a gigantic sea creature. Could Julia have been the S of something waking up? Some researchers believe Julia was caused by a massive iceberg scraping along the ocean floor, but others argue that the sound was too deep, too prolonged, and too unnatural to be dismissed so easily. To this day, the mystery remains unsolved. Upsweep, a repeating enigma. Some underwater sounds are one-time events, but others repeat year after year, season after season, without any known cause. One of the most haunting examples is the upsweep, a mysterious sound first recorded in 1991 and heard every year since. The upsweep consists of a series of rising tones, almost like an alarm or warning signal. The noise originates from a remote point in the Pacific Ocean, deep within an uncharted trench, and seems to intensify during spring and autumn before fading again. Scientists initially thought it might be caused by volcanic activity, but no eruptions, earthquakes, or tectonic shifts have ever been detected in the area. If it were biological, perhaps the call of a deep-sea species, it would have to be a creature that remains hidden in the darkness, only emerging seasonally to make its presence known. But no living thing has ever been found that matches the upsweep's pattern. What then is making the sound, and why does it seem to follow a schedule? Slow down, a deep-sea warning. One of the strangest underwater noises ever recorded is known as slow down, a name given to the sound because of its gradual decrease in frequency, almost like a siren winding down. The sound was recorded in 1997, originating from the remote South Pacific. It lasted several minutes, steadily decreasing in pitch before fading into silence. Some believe slowdown was caused by iceberg grinding against the seabed, but others find this explanation unconvincing. The sound did not resemble normal ice movement, and its unique acoustic signature has never been heard before or since. Even more unsettling, slowdown came from a region known as Point Nemo, the most remote place on Earth, farther from land than any other location on the planet. Point Nemo is so isolated that the closest humans to it are often astronauts on the International Space Station. If something unknown is lurking beneath the waves at Point Nemo, no one would ever know, and perhaps no one ever will. Are these sounds evidence of unknown life? Many of these sounds remain unexplained, and the theories surrounding them range from the logical to the terrifying. Some believe they could be caused by undiscovered deep-sea creatures larger than anything known to science. The ocean is home to giant squid, colossal jellyfish, and strange bioluminescent life forms. Could there be something even more massive hidden in the uncharted trenches? Others speculate that the sounds could be artificial signals, perhaps originating from a lost civilization, or even extraterrestrial visitors exploring the ocean depths. After all, if an intelligent species wanted to study Earth without detection, wouldn't the deep ocean be the perfect hiding place? Still, others suggest that these sounds could be the result of unknown geological phenomena, strange movements beneath the Earth's crust, vast underground caverns, or even the collapse of hidden structures deep within the abyss. Whatever their origin, one fact remains: the deep ocean is far less explored than outer space, and beneath the crushing pressure and the silent darkness, there may be things we are simply not meant to find. Perhaps these sounds are warnings, or perhaps they are greetings, a call from something waiting in the depths, and one day we might finally hear what it's been trying to say. Part 18. the cursed shipwrecks of the deep, ghostly wrecks, and their haunting legends. The ocean has swallowed countless ships, their remains scattered across the seabed like forgotten tombs. Some were lost in storms, others to war, and many simply vanished without explanation. But among the thousands of shipwrecks resting in the deep, there are those that are whispered about in fear wrecks said to be cursed, haunted, or inexplicably malevolent stories of ships doomed from the start, carrying secrets to the grave, stories of vessels found with no crew, no distress signals, only eerie silence, and stories of divers who ventured too close to these wrecks only to suffer strange fates of their own. Could these shipwrecks truly be cursed? Are they haunted echoes of lost souls? Or is there something more, something lurking within the deep, drawn to tragedy, feeding on those who dare disturb the remains? These are the cursed shipwrecks of the deep. The RMS Queen Mary, a haunted giant beneath the waves. The RMS Queen Mary was once one of the most luxurious ocean liners ever built. It carried Hollywood celebrities, world leaders, and the wealthiest passengers across the Atlantic. But when World War II broke out, the Queen Mary was transformed into a military transport ship, repainted gray, and renamed the Gray Ghost during the war. The Queen Mary carried thousands of soldiers crammed into its decks as it moved at high speeds to evade enemy submarines. But in 1942, tragedy struck. Sailing near Scotland, the Queen Mary was being escorted by the HMS Curo, a smaller warship meant to protect it from attacks. As the two ships navigated through rough seas, disaster struck. The Queen Mary accidentally sliced the Curo in half, plowing Oof, the smaller ship with its enormous steel hull. The Curo sank in minutes, taking 338 men to their deaths. But the Queen Mary, under strict wartime orders, was forbidden to stop for survivors. It continued on its course, leaving the doomed men to drown in its wake. Ever since, the Queen Mary has been plagued by ghostly legends. When the war ended, it returned to passenger service, but strange reports began circulating. Crew members heard phantom footsteps in empty hallways. Passengers saw shadowy figures standing on the decks, and eerie whispers filled the air. The most chilling encounters happened deep in the ship's lower decks, near the empty swimming pool. Survivors of shipwrecks claimed to see wet footprints appearing on the floor, as if invisible passengers had just climbed out of the water. Some divers who explored the wreckage of ships sunk by the Queen Mary's passage reported hearing screams echoing from the deep, as if the lost souls of the CO men were still calling for help. The Queen Mary is now permanently docked in California, turned into a hotel and museum. But even today, visitors report terrifying encounters in its haunted corridors. Some believe it is cursed, forever haunted by the men it left behind in the sea. The Deer, the ghost ship that inspired Dracula the Demeter, was a merchant ship that set sail in 1897 from the Black Sea, bound for England with a cargo of mysterious wooden crates. It never arrived. When the ship was finally found, it had drifted into a harbor completely empty. The crew was gone. The captain was found dead at the wheel, his hands tightly gripping the helm, his face frozen in terror. The only other body on board was the ship's watchdog, its throat ripped open. No one could explain what had happened to her. No signs of struggle, no distress signals, only eerie silence. When investigators searched the hold, they found the ship's logbook. The final entry was scribbled in shaky handwriting, barely legible. Something is on board with us. We are not alone. Fate became the inspiration for Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, and the story Dracula's coffin is transported to England aboard a ship eerily similar to the Deer. One by one, the crew vanishes, leaving only an empty vessel drifting into port. But was the Deer just a tragic case of a lost crew, or was there something darker lurking in its hold? Some historians believe the Deer may have been smuggling a cursed relic, something ancient and powerful that doomed everyone aboard. Others speculate that the ship fell victim to a supernatural force, something waiting in the darkness of the cargo hold, hunting the crew as they sailed unknowingly to their doom. To this day, the fate of the Deer remains a chilling mystery. The SS Kamchatka, the warship that defied logic during the Russo-Japanese War in 1919, for a Russian fleet of warships set sail for battle. Among them was the SS Kamchatka, a heavily armed support vessel carrying hundreds of sailors and valuable supplies from the start the voyage was plagued with unexplainable accidents. Crew members reported hearing bizarre knocking sounds from within the ship's walls, though no source could be found. Some sailors swore they saw ghostly figures moving in the engine room, only to find nothing. When they searched, then things got worse as the fleet navigated through dense fog. The Kamchatka opened fire on a group of fishing boats, mistaking them for enemy ships. But when the Russian commanders asked why the Kamchatka had attacked, the radio operator insisted they fired at us first. We heard their guns. The only problem, the fishing boats had no weapons. They had never fired a single shot. The Kamchatka erratic behavior continued throughout the war. It constantly reported enemy attacks that didn't exist, fired on friendly ships, and eventually disappeared without explanation before reaching Japan. No wreckage was ever found. Some believe the Kamchatka was cursed, doomed from the start by something unnatural lurking on board. Others speculate that the crew fell victim to a mass hallucination, driven mad by something hidden deep within the ship. Whatever the truth, the fate of the Kamchatka remains one of naval history's most eerie unsolved mysteries. The Yonaguni ghost fleet, sunken ships that whisper in the deep off the coast of Japan. Near the island of Yonaguni lies an eerie collection of sunken ships resting silently on the ocean floor, unlike other shipwreck sites where rusting hulls decay quietly. Over centuries, the Yonaguni wrecks are different. Tourists who explore the wrecks report hearing faint whispers, even though no one else is around. Some have seen strange lights flickering in the deep, moving against the current, as if something unseen is lurking within the wrecking. One ship, an old fishing vessel known as the Cielo Maru, is said to be the most haunted. Several divers who entered its rusting interior claimed to feel an invisible force pulling them deeper, as if the ship itself was trying to drag them down. Some returned in a panic, swearing they heard voices speaking in a language they didn't recognize. Many refuse to dive there now, believing the site is cursed. Some speculate that the Yonaguni ghost fleet is located at a convergence of powerful underwater energy fields, creating distortions in reality. Others believe too, for that 4 for the wrecks may be guarded by something ancient, something that does not wish to be disturbed, but no one knows for sure. All that remains are the whispers in the deep. Are these shipwrecks truly cursed? From the haunted decks of the Queen Mary to the ghostly remains of Yonaguni, the stories of these shipwrecks are eerily consistent. Unexplained disappearances, phantom sounds, strange lights, and feelings of an unseen presence watching from the depths. Are these ships truly cursed, or do they simply hold the imprints of tragedy, echoes of the souls lost at sea? Some believe the ocean itself is alive, remembering every death, every disaster, every final scream that fades into the waves. Perhaps the ghosts of these shipwrecks are not just echoes. Perhaps in the deepest places of the sea something still lingers, and maybe, just maybe, some wrecks are never truly abandoned. They're just waiting. Part 19, the abyssal giants. Do colossal sea creatures still in the depths? The ocean covers more than 70% of the Earth's surface, yet we have explored less than 5% of its depths. The deeper we go, the more the laws of biology seem to bend. Fish with transparent skin, creatures that glow in total darkness, chooks that live for 400 years. But what if something even larger, something truly monstrous, still roams these uncharted waters? Sailors throughout history have spoken of gargantuan and sea monsters capable of dragging ships beneath the waves. Some of these stories sound like myths, legends told by men driven mad by the sea, but others refuse to die. And even today there are reports of creatures so massive, so alien, that scientists struggle to explain. Is it possible that the deep sea still hides giants, survivors from a prehistoric past unseen by human eyes? Or are these creatures something else entirely, something that has always been watching us from below? The colossal squid, a creature once thought impossible for centuries. Sailors told stories of cringe, gigantic tentacle beasts said to wrap their limbs around entire ships and drag them to the ocean floor. Most scientists dismissed these tales as drunken exaggerations. Then in 2000, 7. A group of researchers work near Antarctica caught something on film that changed everything. It was a colossal squid, a species never before seen alive. It was over 46 feet long with hooks lining its tentacles and eyes the size of dinner plates. Unlike the well-known giant squid, which is long and streamlined, the colossal squid was shorter, thicker, and far more powerful, built to ambush and crush its prey. If a squid this massive could remain undetected for centuries, what else might be lurking in the deep? And more importantly, could the legends of something even larger be true? The Ningon, a humanoid giant beneath the ice, one of the strangest oceanic mysteries, comes not from ancient legends, but from modern military reports. For years, Japanese research vessels in the Southern Ocean near Antarctica have encountered something bizarre. They described seeing a massive white figure gliding through the depths, sometimes surfacing for brief moments before vanishing again. This creature, known as the Ningon, is said to be between 60 and 100 feet long, with a vaguely humanoid shape. Some witnesses claim it has arms and legs, while others say it has whale-like skin, but moves with unnatural precision. There is no confirmed footage of the Ningon, only grainy photographs and unsettling reports from crew members who swear they have seen it. Some researchers speculate that the Ningon might be an undiscovered species of giant ray or whale, but others believe it is something else entirely. Could this be an intelligent life form hiding in the coldest, most inhospitable waters on Earth? Or is it something even stranger, something not from this world at all? The bloop, a sound that should not exist. In 1997, underwater listening stations picked up a sound that defied explanation. It was the loudest underwater noise ever recorded, so powerful that it was detected over 3,000 m apart. The sound, later called the bloop, had a biological signature, meaning that whatever made it was likely alive. But hey, raise the problem. For any known creature to make a sound that loud, it would have to be larger than a blue whale, the biggest animal on the planet. Was this the call of a hidden leviathan deep in the trenches of the Pacific? Some scientists later suggested that the bloop was caused by ice shifting in Antarctica, but others remain unconvinced, pointing out that no other ice movement has ever produced a sound this powerful and organic. If it was alive, it means there's something in the ocean that we still don't understand, something we may never fully comprehend. The black demon, a shark beyond imagination, the megalodon, an ancient predator that grew over 60 feet long, ruled the oceans for millions of years before supposedly going extinct too. 6 million years ago, but some say it never disappeared at all. Fishermen off the coast of Mexico have reported sightings of a gigantic black shark described as being as long as a bus with jagged bone-white teeth. They call it El Demonio Negro, the black demon. In some cases, these fishermen say their entire boats were nearly capsized as the massive shape lurched beneath them, sending waves crashing in every direction. Shark researchers argue that no known shark reaches that size today, but deep sea divers and sonar scans have sometimes detected anomalous shapes moving far beneath the surface, too large to be any known species. Could the megalodons still be alive, hidden in the uncharted depths of the Pacific? Or is the black demon something else entirely? Something even older than the megalodon, something we have never encountered before. The unseen giants of the Hadal Zone. Most of the ocean's life exists in the first few hundred feet of water where sunlight penetrates, but below that in the Hadal Zone, deeper than 20,000 feet, is a realm of darkness colder than the Arctic, and under pressure so extreme that human bones would be crushed instantly. Very few expeditions have ever explored this part of the world, but those who have returned speak of strange things. Deep sea probes have captured gigantic shifting shadows, things that move faster than any known deep sea fish. Some researchers say they've encountered vast glowing shapes hovering in the darkness before disappearing into the abyss. In 2011, a deep sea rover exploring the Mariana Trench, the deepest place on Earth, suddenly lost contact. When the footage was retrieved, it showed something massive moving in the distance, a shape so large it eclipsed the camera's entire field of view. But before the rover could capture anything else, the transmission cut out. Scientists say it could have been a giant squid or an undiscovered jellyfish. But what if it was something else, something that wasn't supposed to be seen? Could these be ancient beasts that escape time? There is one final chilling theory, one that suggests these creatures are not new, but very, very old. Some believe that the deep ocean is a time capsule, a place where species that should have gone extinct millions of years ago have continued to survive unchanged in total isolation. The colon of fish believed to have gone extinct 66 million years ago was found alive and unchanged off the coast of South Africa in 1938. The goblin shark, an ancient species with a nightmarish appearance, has remained unchanged for over 125 million years. Could there be even larger survivors lurking in the depths, creatures from a time before humans, still ruling their silent world far beneath us? If the ocean keeps its secrets, well, then the most terrifying ones might still be waiting to be discovered. The deep sea holds secrets we may never understand, from giant humanoid figures beneath the ice to creatures larger than blue whales. The ocean is a realm of mysteries. We like to believe that we have mapped our planet, that we know what kinds of creatures live alongside us, but the truth is we don't. The deep sea is largely unexplored, and the few glimpses we have seen only raise more questions. Are these creatures real, or are they something else, something we were never meant to see? Perhaps one day we will finally know, or perhaps they are watching us already. Part 20: The sunken civilizations, lost cities beneath the waves, hidden beneath centuries of shifting sands and crushing darkness, lie the remains of civilizations long forgotten. Some of them sank due to natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, and rising sea levels, swallowing entire cities. Whole others seem to have vanished mysteriously, their ruins left to be rediscovered thousands of years later. But the deeper we explore, the more unsettling the questions become. How many ancient cities still rest beneath the waves, waiting to be found? Could some of these ruins predate recorded history, suggesting that civilizations existed far earlier than we ever imagined? And most chilling of all, did these cities fall due to natural causes, or were they erased on purpose? These are the sunken civilizations, the lost worlds beneath the sea. The lost city of Heracleon, Egypt's forgotten Atlantis. For centuries, Heracleon was known only in legend. Ancient Greek historians wrote of a magnificent Egyptian port city, a bustling hub where merchants from Greece, Egypt, and the Mediterranean came to trade goods and worship the gods. At its center was a grand temple dedicated to the god Ammonius, where pharaohs would come to perform sacred rituals. But as time passed, the city was swallowed by the sea. For over 1,200 years, it was thought to be just a myth, a lost legend, much like Atlantis. Then in 2000, a team of underwater archaeologists made a shocking discovery off the coast of Egypt. Buried beneath 30 feet of water, they found the ruins of Heracleon, massive statues of Egyptian gods still standing upright, gold coins, ceremonial relics, and everyday objects perfectly preserved in the seabed. Even entire stone temples that had been swallowed whole by the Mediterranean. But what caused the city to sink? Some believe that Heracleon was built on unstable ground, slowly sinking over centuries before finally being consumed by the waves. Others speculate that a catastrophic earthquake or tsunami sent it plunging beneath the sea in a single apocalyptic event. But a more unsettling theory remains. What if the city was intentionally destroyed, erased from history, much like Atlantis? The reason a secret hidden within its walls, something too powerful or dangerous to be left standing for now. Heracleon remains an eerie reminder of how easily a civilization can be lost, and how many more may still be waiting to be found. The ruins of Dhaka, India's sunken kingdom. The ancient Hindu epic, the Mahabharata, describes a city of unimaginable beauty ruled by Lord Krishna himself. It was called Dwara, and it was said to be one of the most advanced cities of its time, filled with golden palaces, towering structures, and intricate canals. But one day the city was pulled beneath the waves, lost forever. For thousands of years, scholars dismissed Dwara as just a myth, a religious story rather than a real place. Then the 1980s, divers exploring the Gulf of Ket of India's coast made a shocking discovery beneath 130 feet of water. They found the remains of a massive city, its foundations stretching over 5 miles across the seabed. Among the ruins, they uncovered pottery, human remains, and tools that were carbon dated to over 9,000 years old. This discovery changed everything. If these dates are correct, it would mean that Dhaka is one of the oldest known cities in the world, predating even the Egyptian pyramids. More importantly, suggests that highly developed civilizations existed thousands of years earlier than mainstream history acknowledges. Was Dvarka truly the city of Lord Krishna, or was it a forgotten empire buried beneath the waves? And if one city from legend has been found, how many more are still waiting? Cuban underwater city, the ruins that shouldn't exist. In 2001, a team of oceanographers working off the coast of Cuba detected something strange on their sonar. Scans at a depth of over 2,000 feet, they found a massive symmetrical structure, one that looked like an ancient city complete with roads, pyramids, and even possible temples. This was impossible for a city to be buried this deep. It would have to be at least 50,000 years old, far older than any known civilization on Earth. When robotic submarines were sent down to investigate, they captured blurry but unmistakable footage of huge stone structures arranged in geometric patterns eerily similar to the ruins of Mayan and Aztec cities. Scientists were baffled. No known civilization existed 50,000 years ago. Humans, as we understand them, were primitive hunter-gatherers at the time, certainly not building monumental cities. So who built it? One possibility is that it is the remains of a lost civilization, one that thrived before a cataclysmic event, perhaps an ancient tsunami, pole shift, or global flood wiped it from history. Could this be evidence of an unknown chapter in human history, one we have yet to fully uncover? Or is it proof of something even more unsettling, a civilization that was never meant to be found? Atlantis, a civilization wiped from history. Of all the lost cities, none is more infamous than Atlantis. Described by Plato over 2,400 years ago, Atlantis was said to be a technologically advanced civilization rich in knowledge, wealth, and power. But according to legend, the city was destroyed in a single night, vanishing beneath the ocean in a catastrophic event. For centuries, scholars debated whether Atlantis was real or simply a philosophical metaphor. But what if it was neither? What if Atlantis was an ancient warning, a story meant to preserve the memory of a real civilization that was wiped from history? Some theorists believe that Atlantis may have been located near the Azores, an island chain in the Atlantic Ocean, where submerged ruins have been detected. Others argue it could have been Antarctica, be buried beneath the ice after a dramatic shift in Earth's climate. But the most chilling theory: what if Atlantis was destroyed not by natural forces, but by something else, something that wanted it gone? If Atlantis was truly a superior civilization, could it have discovered something dangerous, something that led to its deliberate erasure? If so, the real question isn't where Atlantis is, it's why it was hidden in the first place. How many more cities are still waiting to be found? If history has taught us anything, it's that the ocean does not give up its secrets easily. For centuries, we believed cities like Heraclean Dwara and Pavlopetri were myths until we found them. But how many more are still waiting beneath the waves? How many ancient civilizations have been lost to time, erased by nature, or by something else? Some researchers believe there may be hundreds of sunken cities waiting to be discovered, buried beneath centuries of silkstone and secrecy. And what the next lost city we find doesn't just rewrite history, what if it changes everything we think we know? Perhaps the most terrifying truth is not that these cities are lost, but that they were never meant to be found. Part 21: The Ocean's Vanishing Ships. Unexplained disappearances that defy logic. The ocean is vast, silent, and unforgiving. It has swallowed ships whole, leaving behind no wreckage, no survivors, and no explanation. Throughout history, vessels have set sail, their crews confident in their routes, only to vanish without a trace. Some disappear in the middle of a storm, others in calm waters under clear skies. Sometimes Ships are found later drifting aimlessly abandoned, as if the crew had simply vanished into thin air. Theories range from rogue waves and mutinies to unseen forces that pull ships into another dimension. But in some cases, the disappearances are so bizarre, so utterly inexplicable, that no theory fully explains what happened. Could these vanishings be the result of unknown natural forces, or is there something lurking beneath the wave, something that watches, waits, and takes these or the ocean? Vanishing ships cases that remain unsolved to this day. The disappearance of the USS Cyclops, swallowed by the Bermuda Triangle. In March 1918, the USS Cyclops, a massive Navy fuel ship, set sail from Brazil heading back to the United States. It was one of the largest ships in the U.S. fleet, nearly 550 feet long, carrying 306 people and a full load of cargo. Then it vanished. The last known message from the Cyclops was routine reporting calm seas and smooth sailing, but after that it was never seen. Again, no distress call, no wreckage, no survivors. The ship had entered the infamous Bermuda Triangle region, known for unexplained disappearances of ships, and PLS theories immediately swirled. Did the ship capsize in a storm? No evidence of bad weather was found. Was it attacked by a German submarine? No wartime record suggests any enemy engagement. Did it suffer a catastrophic mechanical failure? Even if so, wreckage should have been found. But perhaps the most chilling detail is this: in the years after the Cyclops disappeared, two of its sister ships, both identical in design, also vanished in the same area under similar circumstances without a single trace. Could something be lurking in the Bermuda Triangle, taking ships without warning? The vanishing of the MV Joa, a ghost ship left to drift. The MV Joa set sail from Samoa in October 1955 on what should have been a routine journey. The weather was clear, the ship well maintained, but it never arrived at its destination. 5 weeks later, a search team found the Joa drifting over 600 m off course. It was completely abandoned. Food and supplies were still on board. The cargo was untouched. The life rafts were missing, but there was no sign of distress, no struggle, no blood. Even stranger, the ship's radio was tuned to the international distress signal, but its antenna was damaged, suggesting that the crew had tried to send a message before they vanished. But the most bizarre discovery was the ship's clock, which had stopped at exactly 10:25, as if marking the precise moment something went terribly wrong. Where did the crew go? Why did they abandon a seaworthy ship with food supplies and working equipment? And why has not a single person from the Joa ever been found to this day? The fate of its 25 crew members remains one of the greatest maritime mysteries. The Mary Celeste, the ship that sailed itself on December 5th, 1872, a British merchant ship named the Day Gradier was sailing across the Atlantic when its crew spotted something unusual. A ship drifting silently. Its sails were tattered, its movement erratic, as if no one was steering it. The British crew approached, carefully calling out. No response. When they boarded the vessel, they found its name, Mary Celeste, but something was terribly wrong. The ship was completely intact. No signs of struggle, no water damage, no sign of distress. The crew's food and personal belongings were untouched, but every single person on board had vanished. The lifeboat was missing, yet there were no signs that anyone had needed to leave. There was no storm recorded in the area. There were no signs of an attack. The captain's log ended abruptly with nothing unusual reported. Theories range from pirates and mutiny to underwater earthquakes. Some even suggested that the crew had been taken by something unnatural, perhaps an unseen force, a monstrous sea creature, or something that cannot be explained by science. Whatever happened, the crew of the Mary Celeste was never seen again. The ship, cursed by its mysterious fate, never found another owner willing to sail it. It was eventually intentionally wrecked on a reef, taking its secrets to the ocean floor. The Casthane, the ghost yacht that sailed alone in 2007 the sea. The 40-foot catamaran left Australia for a short trip along the coast. Days later, it was found floating aimlessly, sails up, motor running on board. Investigators found a table set for a meal, as if the crew had just stepped away for a moment. A laptop still open and running live. Jackets still in storage, suggesting the crew had left without taking safety equipment, but the 3 crew members were gone. No distress calls were ever made. No blood, no sign of a struggle. Just nothing. The only clue, a single video recording found on board showing the men, just hours before they vanished, laughing, smiling, completely unaware that something was about to take them. What is stealing these ships' history is filled with ships that have vanished into the abyss, leaving behind no wreckage, no signals, no survivors. Some cases can be explained: storms, rogue waves, even criminal activity, but others remain beyond reason. Could there be forces in the ocean we do not yet understand? Some scientists speculate that strange magnetic anomalies could interfere with navigation and cause electrical failures. Others suggest that deep-sea whirlpools unseen from the surface might be pulling ships to their doom. And then there are the darker theories. What if something ancient, something unknown lurks in the deepest parts of the ocean? What if the sea takes what it wants and some ships were simply never meant to return? Whatever the truth, the ocean remains a graveyard of vanished vessels. Each disappearance a reminder that beneath the waves some mysteries will never be solved. Part 22. The deep seas. Forbidden zones. Places no one is allowed to explore. The ocean is Earth's final frontier. A vast, uncharted wilderness filled with mysteries we are only beginning to understand. Some regions are so remote, so extreme that no human has ever set foot in them. Others remain deliberately off limits, surrounded by secrecy, conspiracy, and unanswered questions. Governments have imposed strict no-entry zones in certain parts of the sea. Entire regions are off limits to research, commercial activity, and even military exploration. Some areas have been declared too dangerous for human travel, while others hold classified military secrets that the public is not allowed to know. But what exactly is being hidden beneath the waves? Are these regions off limits simply because they are dangerous, or could something more unsettling, something the world is not ready to face, be lurking beneath the surface? These are the forbidden zones of the deep sea, places that no one is allowed to explore. Point Nemo, the ocean's most isolated place, deep in the South Pacific, lies a place more remote than any other on Earth. It's called Point Nemo, the oceanic pole of inaccessibility. This is the farthest point from any landmass on the planet, sitting over 1,600 miles from the nearest coast. In fact, the closest humans to Point Nemo at any given time are usually astronauts aboard the International Space Station orbiting Earth over 250 miles above. But hey, race, where things get strange. Point Nemo is not just remote, it is also one of the most restricted areas in the world. No commercial vessels travel through it, no fishing or research missions are permitted, even military ships avoid it. Why? Because Point Nemo is the official graveyard of spacecraft. When satellites and space stations reach the end of their lifespan, they are programmed to crash into this exact region, ensuring that no debris ever threatens populated land. The remains of over 260 spacecraft, including parts of the Russian Mir space station, now rest at the bottom of this isolated abyss. But some believe Point Nemo holds secrets far older than space debris. In 1997, NOAA hydrophones in the area recorded the famous bloop, an unexplainably loud underwater noise, one of the most powerful ever detected. The bloop came from deep beneath Point Nemo, and its signature suggested it was biological, as if an enormous creature had made the sound. But no known animal is large enough to produce a noise that powerful. Is Point Nemo hiding something in its depths, something we were never meant to find? Or is it being used as a deliberate dumping ground, not just for spacecraft, but for secrets that should remain buried beneath the waves? The Mariana Trench, a no-go zone for civilians. The Mariana Trench is the deepest part of the ocean, stretching down over 36,000 feet, deeper than Mount Everest. Is tall. It is a place of eternal darkness where the pressure is so intense that most submarines would be crushed instantly. Despite being one of the most significant geological features on Earth, the Mariana Trench is highly restricted. Only a handful of deep-sea missions have ever been allowed to explore it, most of them military or government-controlled. Why is a natural feature of our own planet so tightly controlled? Some theories suggest that the U.S. Navy uses the trench for classified military testing, possibly deep-sea surveillance systems, or experimental underwater vehicles, others believe that something far stranger is being kept secret in. 2016 researchers recorded a mysterious, unidentified sound coming from deep within the trench nicknamed the Western Pacific Bow Wong. Unlike the bloop, this noise repeated at regular intervals, almost as if it were a signal. Scientists proposed that it could be an unknown species of whale, but no whale known to science makes sounds at such a low depth or in this frequency range. Could the Mariana Trench be home to an undiscovered deep-sea species, something we are deliberately being kept away from, or is it being monitored for an entirely different reason, one that we are not meant to know? The Dragon Triangle, Asia's version of the Bermuda Triangle. On the opposite side of the world from the Bermuda Triangle, another region of ocean has gained a terrifying reputation. The Dragon Triangle, also known as the Devil's Sea, located off the coast of Japan. This area has been responsible for hundreds of disappearances, ships and planes that vanish without explanation. The Japanese government officially classifies the region as a dangerous zone, advising all civilian and commercial vessels to avoid it. But why? Between 195 and 1954, 5 Japanese military vessels disappeared in the Dragon's Triangle without a trace. Over 700 crew members were lost. In response, Japan sent a large research vessel, the Kyomaru No. 5, to investigate it. 2 vanished along with all 31 researchers on board. After this, the Japanese government permanently abandoned all efforts to explore the area. Even today, many ships completely avoid the region, citing unpredictable anomalies, rogue waves, and magnetic distortions. Could the Dragon's Triangle be a natural energy vortex, similar to those reported in the Bermuda Triangle, or is something more intelligent, something that does not wish to be found, responsible for these vanishings? The forbidden depths of Antarctica. Antarctica is home to some of the most mysterious and restricted areas in the world, and its surrounding oceans are no exception, despite being one of the most unexplored regions on Earth. Large portions of Antarctica's oceanic territory are completely off limits to all research, even private exploration. But why? Some theorists believe that Antarctica hides something ancient, a secret so profound that it has been deliberately kept hidden. In 2017, satellite images captured a strange dark opening in the ice near the Weddell Sea. Some suggested it was a natural phenomenon, while others speculated it could be an entrance to a hidden subglacial world. The waters surrounding Antarctica have also yielded strange findings, including unexplained structures deep beneath the ice shelf, high-frequency underwater signals with unknown origins, bizarre fast-moving objects detected by sonar, moving in ways known marine creature. Could Antarctica be home to an undiscovered civilization buried beneath the ice for thousands of years? And if so, why is the rest of the world so determined to keep us away from it? Are these places off limits for our safety or theirs? From Point Nemo to the Mariana Trench, from the Dragon's Triangle to the frozen depths of Antarctica, vast portions of the ocean remain strictly off limits to exploration. Governments tell us it's for our safety, that these areas are too dangerous, too extreme for human travel. But what if the truth is far more unsettling? What if these zones are restricted not to protect us, but to protect something else, perhaps hidden in the black depths? Something ancient still waits, something that does not want to be found, or worse, something that has already found us. Part 23, the abyssal trenches, Earth's final frontier, and what might be lurking there. The ocean is vast, mysterious, and largely unexplored, but beyond the shallows, beyond the coral reefs and the sunlit waters, lies a world so extreme, so alien, that it might as well be another planet. These are the abyssal trenches, the deepest parts of the ocean where sunlight never reaches. Temperatures hover just above freezing, and the weight of the water above is so immense that most life forms would be crushed instantly. Yet against all odds, life does exist. They're strange bioluminescent creatures with transparent skin, fish with no eyes, and life forms so bizarre that they defy classification. But what if the things we have found are only the smallest inhabitants of this hidden world? What if something much larger, much older, something unknown lurks in the abyssal trenches, watching from below? The deepest places on Earth remain the least explored, but perhaps There's a reason for that. The Mariana Trench, the deepest place on Earth, the Mariana Trench, is the most famous of all ocean trenches, a 360,000 feet deep chasm that cuts through the Pacific Ocean floor like a scar. If you replace Mount Everest at its bottom, the peak of the mountain would still be over a mile beneath the surface. For centuries, scientists believed nothing could live at such crushing depths, but when unmanned submersibles first explored the trench, they found life flourishing in the darkness, but not just any life, things that should not exist. Giant amphipods, shrimp-like creatures 10 times larger than their shallow water relatives, gelatinous fish with no bones, their bodies more fluid than solid to withstand the extreme pressure, gigantic too. Worms feeding off deep-sea thermal vents, thriving in conditions that should be uninhabitable. But these were just the small things. The truly unsettling discoveries came when deep-sea probes recorded shadowy figures far larger than anything scientists expected moving in the darkness. One robotic submersible launched in 2014 captured a glimpse of an enormous snake-like shape. But before it could get a clearer image, something struck the probe hard enough to damage its instruments and sent it tumbling. Scientists dismissed it as a malfunction, but others believe the probe was attacked by something lurking in the abyss. And if something that large is down there, what else might be hiding in the deepest parts of the trench? The Java Trench, the unknown abyss of the Indian Ocean. While the Mariana Trench has been explored at least partially, the Java Trench, located in the Indian Ocean, is a different story. It is one of the longest and least explored trenches on Earth, stretch over 2,600 miles, yet has received almost no scientific attention. Why? Some researchers say the Java Trench has conditions too extreme for deep-sea exploration, with massive undersea landslides, unpredictable currents, and shifting tectonic plates. Others believe something else is keeping people away. In 2017, an Australian deep-sea exploration team sent a probe into the Java Trench. The mission was routine: collect sediment samples, record environmental data, and capture footage of the trench's ecosystem. But something went horribly wrong. The probe descended as planned, but within 3 hours all contact was lost. The last transmission contained distorted footage showing something massive moving in the distance. But before researchers could analyze the data, the signal cut out completely. The probe was never found. Some believe the Java Trench may house an undiscovered predator, something so large and elusive that it has remained hidden from science. Others think the trench might be home to a deep-sea geothermal anomaly, an underwater volcano, or a heat source unlike anything we've ever encountered. But the truth, we simply don't know, because no one has dared to return to the Java Trench since the Puerto Rico Trench, a site of mysterious phenomena. The Puerto Rico Trench is the deepest point in the Atlantic Ocean, reaching depths of 27,500 feet. It is also one of the most geologically active regions in the world, sitting along a major tectonic fault line. But beyond its geological significance, the Puerto Rico Trench has a history of bizarre occurrences, unidentified submerged objects. USO's numerous reports describe fast-moving underwater objects detected by naval sonar, but never visually confirmed. Anomalous magnetic fields. Pilots flying over the trench have reported compass malfunctions and electromagnetic disturbances similar to those recorded in the Bermuda Triangle. Deep-sea booms. Seismic monitoring stations have detected massive, unexplained underwater booms loud enough to be recorded across thousands of miles. Some scientists believe the trench may be home to deep-sea methane releases, huge pockets of gas escaping from the seafloor, which could theoretically cause ships to sink. Others, however, believe something else is happening. The Puerto Rico Trench is one of the only places in the Atlantic where researchers have recorded movement of extremely large, unidentified creatures, life forms that do not match any known marine species. Could the trench be home to a deep-sea species we have yet to discover? Or is there something more unnatural at work, something that